across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Okay, this is The Late Show with Andre Walker, Asher Gould, and we've got Danielle Nichols in the house. Hey! I'm awfully sorry about being ill yesterday, but I'm back raring to go today.
How dare you?
Dreadful.
Very dare you be poorly.
I was about to say, talking of illness, the assisted dying bill. No, OK. Right, look, before we start anything about the show, I just want to point out that because of the proroguing of Parliament, the euthanasia bill will now not go through.
OK.
Now, you know, it's a parliamentary procedure thing. Anything that's not finished by the King's speech, by the proroguing of Parliament, can't happen and will have to be reintroduced. Are you happy or sad, Danielle?
I felt very different. I'm one of those people who thinks you should always be able to change your opinion based on the knowledge that you're given. And when the way you framed it, when we had quite a deep conversation, which happens, we have deep conversations sometimes, don't we, Andre?
Well, about which pub to go to.
Yeah, very deep. About which beer he's having. But he genuinely phrased it differently, and I really, since then, my view is ever so slightly different, because I was there for, I think I've worked it out to 3 of my relatives and 2 of my husband's relatives and 2 of my relatives, while they went through cancer and died very slowly. And so because of that, I was very much pro, you know, I think we don't let animals suffer.
Yeah, but how do we know they don't mind? They don't say, don't put me down, I'm enjoying my life. Because I remember a friend on a dog and they were paralysed. They couldn't move the dog.
That was my dog by the time I put my dog down.
Well, this dog was still wagging its tail, and you think, well, the dogs can have...
My dog was crying.
Yeah, but all right, but if you can see the dog's still happy, some people go, oh, well, but he's not happy in life, but he is, you know...
But I don't think they'll put a dog down that's happy and healthy, would they?
Well, it wasn't healthy, it was paralysed. But it was still wagging its tail and happy when it was with the owner.
But I always think, look, first of all...
Paralysed dog, but that could still wag its tail. So it could have been
what use is the tail if it's got no legs?
Just no back leg. Back legs were gone. Those little wheels.
Yeah, but I think it was old. They wouldn't waste the money.
I think here is the critical point. Nobody wants to prolong suffering. Nobody does. And I do accept that obviously modern medicine keeps you alive longer than you would have been alive otherwise. But I just think with modern painkillers, that is the solution to that sort of end-of-life illness. Because, look, James Whale, remember, was in favour of assisted dying. He never asked for euthanasia, but he was in favour of it. Always remember that he would have qualified under this bill because he had 6 months or less to live. But although new technology kept keeping him alive for longer and longer.
Same with Esther Ranson. She's been going on a long time.
Had he, when he got his 6-month diagnosis, had he chosen euthanasia, he wouldn't have seen his grandson pass out in the army, and he wouldn't have received his MBE. And so the reality is...
a lot longer than was predicted, didn't it?
Exactly right. Because what they do, and there will be people watching and listening to this who will have had a cancer diagnosis today.
And they don't actually give you a number, do they? That is...
What they do...
Well, they do, but they're wrong a lot of the time.
What they do is they turn around and they say, right, so, and this is the really important thing, and anybody suffering from cancer or any life-limiting illness, what they do is they tell you how long you've got to live based on medicine approved today. Now, the National Institute for Clinical Excellence can announce a drug tomorrow, which will then, and that is what happened to James Whale. In the end, people was going, well, I mean, in the nicest possible way, is this guy actually ill?
Yeah.
Because what would happen is he'd get 6 months to live, he'd be at death's door.
He couldn't pay his bill, so they give him another 6 months. But, you know, the thing is, it's not only that, it's also different doctors. One doctor will go, I've had this with a couple of people I know, they've said, oh, yeah, there's no point in operating, oh, you've only got 6 months. They've gone to another doctor, and they've gone, no, we can do something about this, and they've saved both their lives, these people.
Yeah.
So,
well, I remember Dean's mum qualified for a certain kind of drug when she was dying of cancer. And she qualified for this drug, and it made her, it gave her a hell of a lot longer time. But then it got to a stage where there's all criteria, isn't it? It's very box ticky.
Yes.
You know,
the side effects are worse than the treatment.
Yeah, and then they look at what stage it is and how much.
Well, normally what you've got to do.
But as soon as they took her off that, she just went.
But did they handle it well? Because that's what happened with James. But at the end, the hospice handled it really well.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a walk, by the way, for that.
End of life care is very.
I'll Twitter the details of the whale walk that that Nadine's...
But he said, James Whale,
I'll get them.
I didn't see him when he went to the hospice. Obviously, Asher did, but they'd known each other a lot longer. What I always point out is, as his understudy, I'm only here when he's not, right? So kind of, I didn't know him that well. But my understanding is that he regretted not going into the hospice earlier, simply because he said it was like a 5-star hotel. I never saw the place.
He quite enjoyed.
He likes 5-star hotels, you know.
Yeah, who doesn't?
I never actually saw him in the hospital. I spoke to him in there, but he wasn't there that long. And but a couple of people from here did go down and see him. I think Jeremy went down there, and a couple of the others.
Well, it wasn't that. It wasn't more. It was only a week or so, wasn't it? It wasn't very long. Yeah.
I mean, the reality is the number one person who has advocated for euthanasia in this company is somebody who didn't have it, didn't need it, and look, at the end of the day, I would far rather medicate Granny for the last few days than have a situation where people are pressured into committing suicide.
However, my grandma was the worst to watch. So they said that she had days.
Yeah.
And she suffered for 2 weeks. And that was awful, to be at her bedside for 2 weeks and watch her.
Yeah, but how compos mentis was she? Because the point
very worryingly, very compos mentis, yeah. And we kept kind of saying...
in pain was she?
Yeah, she was in a lot of pain.
So don't you think they didn't handle that right? Or is there sometimes you can't do...
I always felt like she was a fighter in life.
Yeah.
So I felt like she kind of fought death. I think she was very frightened. She had some mental health issues in life. And I think it was very psychological for her, because my granddad and her were very in love. Like, they still got up to a bit of humpy-pumpy.
Soon after him?
He was still alive, and I think that's why she didn't want to go. She didn't want to leave him. Yeah. I think there was a very... And the strange thing was, he didn't spend any time with her at the very end either. It was like, it was too painful for him to watch her die.
I had a friend of mine, you're not going to believe this, his mum dumped his dad when she was in the hospice. She said... I'm not joking, this is what actually happened. She said, listen, I'm feeling a bit frisky. And he said, you've only got a few days to live. And she went, more justification.
Yeah.
And he said, no, I feel wrong to do it. She said, right, I'm dumping you. and then
did she find someone to fulfil her needs?
She did not. She did not. Anyway, have you got an earpiece, Danielle?
Yes, I do.
You have? Okay. It doesn't surprise me that Ken in London's been in touch, and he's on the phone now. Well, Ken, look,
he's not going to like that.
I hope he didn't hear any of that.
He's not going to like that, Ken.
Ken, it's good news that the euthanasia bill is not going to happen.
It is wonderful good news. This is a change for the better for the country. But listen, if you don't mind, this is something we need to be honest about.
Mm-hmm.
There is a place called hell. There is a place called heaven. And Jesus proved it when he died and rose bodily from the dead. Those who kill themselves through euthanasia is self-murder.
But what if they were bullied into it? I suppose that wouldn't be suicide, would it? It'd be murder, wouldn't it? I mean, I worry, Ken, that people are not going to be given a choice. Nobody wants to commit suicide, do they?
Yeah.
Well, many people are. That's what they're doing when they call to the youth to take part in euthanasia. They're saying they want to kill themselves. Listen, if you don't mind, you can cut me off anytime you like.
No, Ken. But what they're saying is maybe that's half a sentence you just said. You just said they're saying they want to kill themselves because they are already dying. So that's only half of the sentence. To say they want to kill themselves because they are terminally ill. Do you know what I mean? That's only half a sentence.
When they kill themselves, they jump out of the frying pan into the fire, literally.
But Ken, can I ask you this very quickly? We've got loads of time. But Ken, I was watching a documentary about the World Trade Center. Bear with me here. And there was a lot of talk about these people who jumped out the building. Right, and they were saying, oh, they've committed suicide. No, they haven't. The building was on fire and they were choking to death. And they were trying.
Couldn't breathe.
And a lot of the people actually attempted to land on the canopies at the bottom. They were trying to.
What would you have done, Ken? Would you have jumped out the window?
I agree with you there.
But that is not suicide.
And it's naughty that, because you're right. If there's no other way out and you can't breathe and the air is choking you,
it's burning you. The flames are licking at you.
You're supposed to burn to death. You're supposed to just lie there. No.
Because what you're doing, what you're actually doing
is not committing suicide.
You're prolonging your life as best you can.
Yes. And
Ken, can you confirm that this is correct?
And it's going to be quick, not a slow burning death.
Ken, what would happen to those people?
I suppose my point is, obviously, if you're about to be burnt alive, then you're going to try and get out of the building, and that is obviously a futile effort. Is there not an argument for also saying somebody who is going to die anyway, it's about working out how to do that? I mean, I don't agree with this argument, but is there not an argument for saying let's attempt to manage that in the best way possible, given they're going to die anyway?
Hello.
Hi, Ken in London.
Yes. Listen, if you don't mind, listen, this is so serious. This is the most serious thing in a person's life. The most important day in a person's life is the day they die.
Right.
If you die without Jesus Christ as your Lord and Saviour, you go straight to hell. It's in the Bible. Now, listen, I'm not trying to upset anybody, but if there's somebody listening to this who's thinking of going into this euthanasia foolishness, you'll go straight to hell if you're in a sane mind. Dear folks, listen. There is a hell, there is a heaven. Jesus does not want anybody to go to hell. And those who think they get relief from pain when they kill themselves, they step out of the frying pan right into the fire of hell forever.
They're both bad. Being in a frying pan's pretty bad.
Think about this. Please get serious about your lives.
But isn't it sad, though, Ken? Isn't it sad that we look at Keir Starmer, we look at this government, and the only thing they've managed to achieve is the grotesque legalisation of abortion up until the moment of birth, which I just think is... well, it's not legalisation, it's decriminalisation if the mother kills the baby. Right, OK.
It's different.
But you've got abortion and euthanasia. Like, they've not come in as a government and said, let's try and tackle poverty, let's improve education. It's like, let's kill babies and old people.
Euthanize the poor will be the next one.
No, we'll do a benefits cap and we'll then tell you that you can...
Well, no, I mean, they are euthanizing the poor but when they banned the heating, the help with the heating bills. I mean, when they weren't in power, they said if you take off the heating allowance, 4,500 people will die. And then they did it themselves, therefore admitting they've killed 4,500 people.
There's no reasoning with this government.
I find it depressing. I mean, if you were Prime Minister or I was Prime Minister, you'd want to do something more worthwhile than offering with the elderly and legalising abortion.
We have got a Prime Minister. We have a Prime Minister and a Mayor of London who are both of them advocates for the devil. That's the truth of the matter. This is real life here. Things happen in life. We can't escape it. But killing yourself, you don't escape from trouble or pain. You step into a deeper experience of pain, and God doesn't want it.
But what do you say, Ken, to Andre's argument of being in pain, and as in the World Trade Center, of being in a situation and trying to escape that situation? What's that qualify as? Because it's not black and white, is it?
That's a very difficult situation, and nobody can say what they would do unless they were in the situation in this case. But all I'm saying here, this euthanasia...
you just avoid that one then, yeah, that's the way to do it.
I mean, I suppose, Ken, finally, before you go, my final question is this, and I'm vehemently against euthanasia. I just want to be clear on that. But I suppose the argument then goes, well, hang on a second. We've extended somebody's life by 6 years, say. Surely that is unnatural in of itself, and therefore what's happened is the totality of the treatment that we've given the person has meant they've lived 6 years longer.
Against the will of the Lord.
Yeah.
Listen, I've been through the valley of the shadow of death when I had a heart attack in the year 2000. It's a terrifying experience without Jesus Christ. When those people kill themselves, they don't go into oblivion. They go straight into the fires of hell if they did it in a sane state of mind. If they were mentally incapable, God will judge them accordingly.
Sure.
But listen, I'm saying this in love and concern for everybody who's listening here. Get serious about your life. Get serious about Jesus. There is an eternal place called heaven, an eternal place called hell, and God does not want anyone to go to hell. If anyone's listening...
And that's latest hit from Ken in London. But coming up after the breaking, we've got Danielle here, by the way. It's Andre Nash, it's Talk, and we're going to be talking to journalist Anna McGovern. We're going to be talking about Keir Starmer. He misled Parliament again, didn't he? And he's ignoring questions about the Cabinet backing him anymore, because they're not. So we'll be back in 2 minutes.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is a late show with Andre Walker, Asher Gould, and we've got Danielle Nichols in. And I have to say, we had a small technical fault, so Anna McGovern was a little bit later than advertised. But I like to think we proved that we can generate some quality content.
Yeah.
We are flexible. Anna, look, there's just loads and loads and loads to talk about in terms of the news, and I'm happy to go in any direction you like. But my understanding is that you had some experience with somebody attempting suicide this week.
Yeah, so it was in Bristol when I was there on Saturday. So I was just listening to the interview before the break and it made me think of this. So walking past and I saw a woman who was attempting to take her own life, like by jumping off this ledge. And I noticed her from a distance, and at first I wasn't sure what she was doing, but then when I realised, me and my boyfriend ran straight over to her. And one thing that I noticed immediately as well is that everyone just kept walking past as if nothing was happening.
So hang on, she stood on like a bridge about to jump and everyone's going, bloody hell, if I don't get to the chippy I'll be closed. We're
just walking straight past her and she's clearly in distress, she's crying, immediately noticeable, so we had to run straight over to her, shouting over to her, are you all right? And then he had to
obviously she's not all right, is she? Standing on the edge of a thing.
We're trying to calm her down.
Did you get the impression... Anna, did you get the impression that she was attempting to kill herself, or she was attempting to draw attention to the plight of her situation? Which, by the way, I mean, can you imagine if you're attempting suicide because you're depressed and everyone just ignores you? I mean, that would make it 50 times worse.
It's even worse.
So there's a passerby who said that he'd recognised this woman and said that she'd attempted the same thing about 6 months prior to this, and then it repeated again. And well, I've just never seen anything like it.
Was she standing on the... Because it happened to me once on Blackfriars Bridge, and I was on my own, and suddenly I was walking by the stage, and there was a girl about 25 literally standing on the edge, and I didn't run at her because... I thought if I say even make a noise, she was literally on the edge, and I sort of went to the wall, and I went like that on the wall about 20 feet away from her, and sort of looked like quietly, like as if it was like a deer or something. Because as soon if I said anything, she'd have just gone in there, and it was like horrendous. So weren't you scared when you ran up that she was going to jump in?
Yeah, yes, because especially there were people. It was so there's a tunnel. She was on top of a ledge, and there's a tunnel underneath her. So our concern is that she would jump, but then someone who's just walking past wouldn't necessarily know she's there, and she'd land right on top of them. So also causing harm to other people around. So it's very tense. And then when I was on the phone as well, so I called 999 while all of this is happening. And I think the most frustrating thing about that call is he kept... I appreciate you have to ask questions.
Did you get her down and you had her with you down off where she was, did you?
So my boyfriend was having to hold on for dear life and try and pull her off.
By the way, Dan, sorry, Anna, one thing that somebody told me recently, and I hadn't realised this, when you dial 999 and you're having a conversation with the operator, the police are listening to that conversation in the patrol car as they head over
and they'll
there.
get your address, obviously.
So they just keep you chatting simply because it's helping the officers.
Yeah.
So hold on, your boyfriend grabbed her and was struggling to hold on to her.
He managed to haul her off, like pull her off, even though she's trying to resist and jump. And then I think the responder on the phone had said something to me saying, "I know you're a passerby, but does she have a history of mental health problems?"
So you were having to...
I suppose that's just a question, though, that they have to ask.
I know. I guess maybe if it's just to keep the police on the phone, but I was a bit confused.
Was he having to restrain her this whole time? Was he having to restrain? So you had to have the police, because you can't hold on to her the whole time, can you? So they have to come.
Does she have a history of mental health issues? Well, I mean, she's not looking ideal, if I'm being totally honest, right?
No.
So they came in the end and they got her in the end, didn't they?
On the big bridge.
Yeah, and then also, then straight after, the insane thing about this, so they did get her, then walk for about 5 minutes, and then there's someone in the middle of the road who's collapsed and is completely unconscious, and then I'm having to hold her head and put her in the recovery position. This was all within 5-10 minutes.
Anna went on holiday to Beirut.
Yeah.
You're like Wonder Woman.
I think it's just another day in Bristol.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not good, is it?
No.
I mean, it worries me because, I mean, if you look at, say, Carolina Hearn, she's somebody who attempted suicide and then lived a comparatively long and fulfilling life afterwards. Obviously, she ultimately died of cancer. But by the time she died of cancer, this was someone who had a great zest for life. Yeah. So obviously, and I appreciate that Ken is incredibly robust on this subject, but it's not wrong that in general terms, if you don't commit suicide, you will have, you will have things to look forward to.
Do you know what Ken said that I think was really contradictory as well to what he said? He said, you have to take life seriously. And I think that's half the problem because, unfortunately, someone very close to my dad took their life. It was a girlfriend that he was seeing at the time. It was absolutely awful. And it started because she got into some trouble. I mean, don't get me wrong, it started because she lost a baby years back. Yep. And, it's life, isn't it? Life started, that's what happened. But the thing that tipped her over the edge was that she got this threatening letter from a benefits system. So she'd carried on claiming some benefit that she wasn't entitled to, which it was a genuine mistake. Yeah. But at the time that she found this out, she owed, she had to pay a year back, and she was embarrassed about it because she was a very proud lady. She worked, and it was like that was just enough to just push her.
Do you remember the Australian, they did a prank on, I think it was when Kate was having a baby and she ended up killing herself. The nurse at the hospital that gave away the information to the Australian pranking DJs just because
somebody pretended to be the Australian Prime Minister, phoned up and the nurse. But what you're talking about, you've got to be very careful with a lot of these things because I think with a lot of these people, they've got a very serious mental health problem.
Well, but
that sends them over the edge, doesn't it?
We've got unfortunately lots of examples, but I think the actual advice, take life seriously, is probably the wrong advice because my point being, it can be fixed, or if not fixed, like the death of a child. Yeah, you have to.
Well, I remember saying, obviously my dad was not suicidally depressed. He was extremely depressed when my mum died, but he wasn't suicidally. And what I said to him was, now what I'm about to say may sound brutal, but I think he appreciated it.
Yeah.
I said, right, look, the first and most important thing to understand is it will not be fine, right?
Yeah.
You are
going to miss it every single day.
Yes.
And it's going to be painful.
I said, now, the other thing I want to say to you is your best years are behind you. However, that doesn't...
That's cheerful.
However, you should not ignore the fact that there are still things you can achieve.
Yes.
Right. And I think if you are realistic, I mean, as an example, with the death of your daughter, that is not going to be fine.
No.
But you're still a mum, you're still a wife,
Yes.
you're still a television presenter. There's still things that you need to do, and there are things that are valuable.
And you still feel her around your baby as well, don't you?
All the time.
So,
She's definitely around me at the moment for some reason. But yes, but the point is, I think what Anna's flagging up, which, because we can all see the media and see scary stories, but when it's close to you like that, when it's been an experience like it has for Anna and for other people, you can't deny that there's a problem.
I've got to be honest with you. And I say this is a serious thing, even though everyone's going to laugh. Thank God it wasn't me, because I just don't know how much use I'd be with somebody trying to jump off a building.
Useless.
I'd be awful.
That's what you'd say. You'd say it could be worse. It could be me.
I think, I don't think I'd be that sympathetic. I'd try to be, but I'd probably say the wrong thing.
Very straight talking.
Yeah.
You'd probably say, "Now don't make a mess when you."
Yeah, that's right. Actually, I was going to say something quite crasser. But Anna, I mean, that question that Danielle's asking, I know it's hard for you to know the answer to this question because you're a political commentator rather than a medic, but do you get the sense that mental health is either A, increasing, or B, we're not dealing with it properly? I'll tell you what my view is.
Or overdiagnosed.
I think that there's a lot of group therapy that no longer exists because families are disjointed, and that we're all a lot more lonely than we used to.
I will give you a perfect example. I ever let Anna reply because you did.
Sorry, go on, Anna.
Oh no, that's okay. I think we've got we've got failing NHS, we've got failing services for mental health, and I think I just think with a lot of people, they're not able to access the support that they need, and then that's why we then see some people feel like there's no other way out, that they reached that point, and I think we need to do better.
Yes,
social media doesn't help, does it?
But I've got a very good mate of mine who lives on the south coast, and the reality is, I mean, I'm not saying this family are bad, but they're
smugglers.
They're far away. And they're not particularly wealthy or well educated or whatever. And I always get the impression with him, when a problem comes his way, it's just kind of him on his own, right? He just has to get on with it. And I think that is significantly harder. So, I mean, every problem that you've had, you've got Dean there with you, your husband.
Yeah.
And he's exactly that.
But do you think kids have been mollycoddled, and so now they're in the harsh world? They're not as, in our day, you were out on your own quite early on in life, getting your own properties and stuff, and kids have had, and suddenly they might find themselves.
No, you're exactly right, and we're not allowing children to grow up because we're not allowed. They can't afford to get insured to be able to drive or even learn to drive. They can't get a house. They can't have kids. It's too expensive.
They wear their baseballs
and then we throw them into the big bad world and say, find some joy. 56% of 18 to 30-year-olds have said that they've thought twice about having a family on the basis of the leasehold system in this country. Yeah. Does that on its own? No, it makes sense. Another thing that's scientifically proven is that we've been building flats and things like that. Nobody, when they envision having a family, goes, and I'd love to be in a penthouse. They want to be in a house with a garden, because that's so psychologically we're not doing anything at all to help fix this problem, except maybe shipping people from somewhere else to fill the gaps.
Anyway, look, Anna, have you got anything? Because there's also been all the Keir Starmer misleading Parliament, and today they're saying basically his cabinet aren't backing him. Well, he's avoiding the question, which means they aren't. What's your views on Starmer? How long's he got? They're going to wait till after those the local elections.
Oh, goodness me. I think it's just a matter of when he's gone at that point. And I believe it was today, Jonathan Brash, his backbench Labour MP, he came out and said a very similar thing.
Basil's son.
He said it's not a case of if, but when. Yeah. And I think across the board, even those who would normally be on the left and would vote for Keir Starmer, they're also losing faith in him. Everyone's losing faith in him and the Labour Party, and he's increasingly becoming one of the most unpopular prime ministers of all time. So I think it's time for him to go. I think the reason why as well, the reason why Labour won in the first place is because so much trust was lost in the Conservative Party, and now people can't even trust the Labour Party either.
And the funny thing is, he admitted that, because he always said we won but the other day he says the reason you lost the election. So he sort of says one thing and then the other. Anyway, Anna, we've got to take a break, but you're going to stay with us. And after we've got our friend Charles Amos, very controversial,
unique dress style.
Unique gesture. Danielle's going to go and have a cup of tea and come back in a bit. But anyway, if you've been affected by anything we've been speaking about so far today, you can call the Samaritans if you're going through any, because we're not really qualified. The number for Samaritans is 116123. That's 116123, and they're experts and they can help you out. Anyway, it's Talk. Andre and Ash. Danielle will be back later, and we'll be back with Charles Amos, who's a bit like George Roper, in 2 minutes.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is The Late Show with Andre Walker, Asher Gould. Charles Amos has arrived in the studio, and I think Anna McGovern is still down the line. Charles, you know what? I just think I've got a very simple question for you. What on earth is going on at the top of this country? Keir Starmer is clearly absolutely hopeless.
I entirely agree. Although I would say a lot of people are getting an awful flap about this scandal concerning Peter Mandelson, and that is most unfortunate for him. But it's really the policy U-turns, I think there's about 18 and counting now, that should be the target of our attention, even if it's less flashy than the Mandelson
and the lying
scandal.
and misleading of Parliament.
Yes, that too.
You believe, because you've mentioned on previous occasions that Britain is hurtling towards real disaster, government overspending, welfare bills far, far, far too large. And I think the central concern, I don't want to put words into your mouth, is that we appear to have a political class who are incapable of being honest about the financial situation we're in. Absolutely.
If you look at the fiscal situation according to the IFS or OBR, I can't remember which, by 2070, that's not that far away, they're about 45 years away, the national deficit will be 20% of GDP. We'll be borrowing £1 for every £5 that we spend in this economy. Wow. That's unsustainable. And that's on the current spending forecast. So it's policies that are being put in place today concerning public expenses, pensions and healthcare spending that will only go up with an elderly population. It's a fiscal abyss.
What happens next, Charles? What I mean, look,
it has to collapse for things to change.
Let's make the assumption. Let's make the assumption, and I hope I'm wrong, that no politician has got the guts to do anything about this. So we keep spend, borrow, and then what happens?
I think there's a mix of they'll just print, and that'll lead to a great deal of inflation and perhaps a collapse of the British economy when the bubble that it's created eventually bursts. Yes. And I think they'll also reach for higher taxes and the people will accept higher taxes. I think if you're putting 5% on VAT across the board and maybe making the rate of VAT uniform across all products, so increasing it on food. No, it will. If you increase the VAT base to 100%, I think it would raise in excess of
in February,
£100 billion. So that's quite a lot.
We borrowed £13 billion pounds in February this year, and £12 billion was to pay the interest on the loan. So literally, we just had £1 billion.
What if we multiply
and that's only going to get worse
by 12? We get what do we get? About 130 billion or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
and £100 billion would be covered by the VAT increase and perhaps more. So I think
but
VAT...
people would buy less, won't they? If things go up, people spend less. I mean, petrol now is $1.99 from diesel. It was $1.35 a few months ago.
That wouldn't happen in the aggregate. The production would remain the same.
Would it? But
the big problem here is, I don't feel we're getting anything for our money. So I've always said, and perhaps people are going to think this is controversial. I believe we can either have an NHS and welfare on the one hand, or we can have uncontrolled immigration. But you can't have uncontrolled immigration and welfare and an NHS, because all that happens is it's just a massive magnet to the world's poor and underprivileged to all move to the United Kingdom. Now, my preference, of course, would be to stop uncontrolled immigration, but I just feel like we're not generating any benefit for any of this. The taxes are going up, services are getting worse. The number of government inspectors now is crazy.
I mean, VAT on schools, by the way, the Laffer curve's kicked in, and they're getting less taxation from putting VAT on private school fees. But they don't care. They were just jealous and bitter and don't want to see people trying to better their kids.
I'd have to disagree with you, Andre, on that. I think to have the welfare state and the NHS into the future with the taxation levels that we're seeing today, we actually need uncontrolled immigration to sort out the demographic problem that we are facing. In the 1970s, there were 3 working age people for every 1 pensioner. Today, it's 4 working age people for every 1 pensioner. Today, it is 3 working age people for every 1 pensioner, and by 2050 it'll be 2 working people for every 1 pensioner. And if we expand the immigrant population in this country dramatically, we can keep that ratio like it is today, or perhaps push it back to the 1970s.
I disagree with you on that. I don't disagree with you. You're stating a series of facts. Yeah. However, I think there's enormous caveat in this, and I've thought long and hard about this. First of all, I think whatever your religious view, we should ban abortion immediately, because it is very, very clear that the population is declining as a result of abortion, right? And if we had millions more British people...
250,000 last year
being born.
Babies,
so that's point number 1. But point number 2, there is no doubt that punitive taxes, there's no doubt that the requirement to buy 2 houses, right, one for yourself and a social house for the Bangladeshi who arrives in 5 minutes. All of those things are pushing British people into having fewer children, and so effectively what we're doing is we are our own policies are reducing the population, and then we're bringing people in from abroad. And that is, look,
and that's putting up property prices because there's more demand.
You can talk about the great replacement theory all day, but if what is happening is you have as many abortions as you have immigration, then it's very clear what's taking place.
I don't know what my view is on abortion, but I would question whether or not banning it would actually increase the birth rate. I suppose it would at the margin, because the people who accidentally had a child wouldn't be able to get rid of it, and so you'd have more children as a result of that. But then you would get perhaps less sex overall, because people would think, oh, well, I don't want to possibly accidentally have a baby. And that might reduce down the number of people that are accidentally having babies.
I don't think people who have abortions have been particularly responsible.
Should we have a sex tax?
Anyway, we've still got Anna McGovern.
How would you please
Anna, do you believe that banning abortion would reduce sex?
I don't know where this debate has gone, everyone. I think the problem is that for many young people, the fact is they're struggling to get on the housing ladder, and times are different now. You know, for example, like for working families, for example, both parents need to be working to be able to afford
because
to
of the big
have
feminism
a family, whereas back in the day it was much easier. So So I think there needs to be more support so people can actually start.
But you're not somebody who's old enough now really to be thinking in terms of becoming a mom. But you will presumably.
She's 44 years old.
you will presumably. You will presumably at some point start to think in terms of that. And I just wonder. You know, you're an intelligent person. You've got, you've got quite good financial opportunities. But even you, presumably, are not thinking in terms of being able to buy a house anytime soon.
No, definitely not. And many of my friends are the same case, because I think, especially now coming out of university as well, like there was once upon a time, you graduate, you're pretty much guaranteed to get a job, and now
you didn't have a loan to pay back as well.
Is useless as a piece of paper. And what employers are now looking for, they're looking for work experience. But the thing is, how are you supposed to get work experience if you've just been studying like
a degree in golf course management? Yeah.
Actually, I've got to be honest with you. Golf course management is one of the things I'm quite keen on, because
it's a vocational course.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I have to say, and I don't mean to be critical, and presumably we've got some in the gallery. Do not study media studies. Do not do media studies.
Become a professor of
golf. The reason is, do you know, if every single person in every single media outlet was fired tomorrow, there would still not be enough jobs for the media studies graduates from 1 year. That would the whole industry. You could repopulate the whole industry. If you get a media studies degree, just make sure you know whether you can get fries with that.
You have to deprogram them and teach them what actually the media is when they get here.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're talking about.
Absolutely. Anyway, if you are studying media studies, I'm sorry, but you've been sold the pop.
Anyway, we've got to take a little break at this juncture, so 03444991000, come and join us. We've got Anna here and Charles here. 03444991000. It's Andre Nash, whatever you want to talk about. We'll be going through the papers.
No, not whatever we want to talk about.
I like that. You never know, it's a whole smorgasbord, you know. If you want to talk about Starmer or migration or whatever we've talked about, or anything else.
I love when we
You've changed your image a bit, haven't you, with your hair?
Yeah, I've had a haircut.
Oh, is that it?
I love the way like last week we
looks more normal.
We were doing the phoning about UFOs, and we go, right, let's do the UFO phoning, and people kept going, this bloody Keir Starmer, and you're thinking, right, anything relevant to the particular phoning? No, all right.
And it's gone. Oh dear. All right. Well, we'll be back after this. 03444991000. Andre Nash with Charles back after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is The Late Show with Andre Walker and Ashley Gould. We've got Danielle Nichols back in the studio. And I have to say, seeing Charles and Danielle next to each other,
They make a beautiful couple.
Two very different approaches to media commentary. That in terms one of them's the spray tan and the other one's the sort of.
Hey, this is real, you cheeky
No, he was
monkey.
talking about Charles.
This is my real tan. I've been on
of course
holiday.
it is, yeah.
Anyway, we've not seen you for a little while.
Shut up, you.
Obviously, this show we like to be serious and have a laugh as well. We've not seen. Oh, by the way, the question, Charles, that's being asked is this: are you related to Basil Fawlty?
No.
Okay, right.
I'm afraid not.
Okay.
Charles, I will say this. If I didn't have my contact lenses in, I'd have exactly the same massive glasses as you. I cannot see a thing. So
They're
we're
just
more
a prop.
similar than
That's
they
just a prop.
realise.
He doesn't need them.
They're not a prop, are they?
No.
No, you clearly got a prescription in them.
I've been wearing glasses since I was 2 and big ones since I was sort of
Those same
16.
glasses
I was
when
7.
you were 2.
No.
I was
Smaller
7 when I
version
got
of them.
mine.
Smaller version.
No, I had Harry Potter glasses when I was young.
Did you have little wire ones? Me
Like
too,
John
yeah.
Lennon.
Yeah.
I like those little John Lennon ones.
They were the
I
trend,
had John
weren't they?
Lennon one.
Did you have when you were a kid? Presumably, you had the strap at the back.
No.
Why
No,
not?
he was
Because
only
you
a
can
kid
get,
about
you can get
4
the
years.
wires to just come round.
Oh, really?
He's much younger than us, isn't he? All the new fandangled stuff now.
Charles, by the way, Charles believes he's a thrifty man. He goes to charity shops to buy his clothes.
I like this, Charles.
Absolutely.
Not that.
I
that's
do
new.
too.
That's a new
What's
side.
wrong with
It's a
that?
nice
I do
side
as
of
well.
Oh, thank you.
Was that from a
I've
charity
bought
shop?
stuff from charity shops. Of course I have. Yeah, especially I don't like digging around because I get bored very easily. So, but if I
Well,
see
so
it in the window and I think, oh,
It
I
gets
like
some
that,
nice,
I'll go in and get
Do you know
it.
what I always used to do?
Records,
When I was working for Mastermind with Sonic Lodge, right? Here's what I used to do, right? After dinner, I always used to get out the expensive port. Shh. It wasn't expensive port. You know how the one thing that every charity shop has got is crystal decanters.
There you go.
And they've always got about 50 of them.
Yeah,
Right, because basically,
and little tea sets,
in
nice teacups
yeah,
and things
in
like that.
1975, everybody bought a crystal decanter,
Yeah.
and none of them have been used in years. All you do is £4 port from Lidl, right? Stick
In
it
a
in the crystal
crystal
decanter.
decanter.
Yeah. Oh, I was the belle of the ball.
I bet you'd struggle to get that now, though. You'd be surprised now. Everything's gone a bit retro, isn't it?
What's your favourite charity? Because a lot of them have put their prices
cherry
up.
to port.
No, but with charity shops, I mean, a lot of them have put their
charity.
prices up. Which ones? Pets in Need of Vets are good.
Salvation Army.
The South Asian
That was
Army.
quick.
Yeah, it's
A
cheapest.
quick
I
response.
don't know any South Asian Army.
Oh, sorry, the Salvation Army.
Salvation Army.
The South Asian Army. Yeah.
The South Asian Army stores.
Right, okay. So,
Oh, best
Danielle,
one's a banana,
Danielle, what are
isn't
you up
North
to?
Korean.
What are you up to at the moment? Because we've not seen you in a long time.
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Andre. Thank you.
That wasn't agreed in advance, was it? A text message. Hello, Andre. I want to plug my latest project. Can I come on your show?
So my bingo thing is starting back up.
Your bingo
My
wings?
bingo wings, yeah. My bingo show is starting up at the end of June, beginning of
So
July.
what is ludicrous about this is that we're not allowed to promote the bingo show on this channel.
No.
Which is a bit silly because we are
it's
quite
gambling.
associated.
Yeah, but however, I'm allowed to say I'm doing it, and
Right.
you're allowed to look at my socials and
Yes.
see where I
We
am.
are looking at your socials. Yeah.
So please do follow me at Loud Danielle or at Danny_Nichols on Instagram. And I can't remember what I am on TikTok. I'll have
That's
to have
because
a look.
nobody cares.
But please do follow our socials because as well another exciting project.
What is it, man?
Well, I don't want to spill the beans too
Well, you can't
much.
come on to promote
No,
something.
because
You're not gonna
we haven't
tell
got
us,
the
so.
name nailed down yet, so it's difficult.
We'll come up with the name. Tell us the concept.
However, think Manchester's version of the Kardashians.
Oh my God.
So you're doing a sort of fly on the
Ozzy
wall at
Osbourne,
home.
more than
At home with the
Kardashians.
Nichols.
No,
Well,
we're Holdens,
You're
aren't we?
Holdens, yeah.
Yeah.
So Holden.
No,
Yeah. Oh, he knows. He knows.
Tattooed and hard.
Pardon?
So they'll all be tattooed and hard.
Yes. Well,
Oh,
yeah, we do have
matron.
we do have a
Holden
couple of
Fort.
tattoos
Holden
between
Fort.
us, actually.
That'd be quite good.
Yeah, we don't.
Do you think I
Have I
should?
given
Don't
it
say
away?
things
Do you
on
think
air.
Have you got any
Do you
ideas?
think I should do a fly on the wall documentary about myself?
No, because you'd get banned.
Would I?
If you did a fly on the wall documentary
I think
about
it'd be
yourself,
fun.
it would be you'd be in big trouble,
You'd
Why?
say something too
Yeah.
un-PC and
See?
they're going to have to cancel it.
wouldn't it? He'd be in so much
Especially
trouble.
if it was live. If it was live, you know.
Honestly,
I
mate.
wouldn't.
It would.
Andre.
It would.
I'm sure you would
Please,
say.
please, as your friend, believe me.
Never do it.
Never do it.
Never say
You'll be
anything.
cancelled.
Again.
Like you wouldn't just be cancelled. You'd be in trouble.
That's why somebody said. So I remember years ago, Big Brother tried to get me on, and I just refused because I thought 3 minutes into this show.
I'll
tell you what. I went on the trip.
You'd have been good on that because there would have been some kind of editing.
Have you ever done anything?
Don't do anything without editing.
Can I tell you what? I went to Israel. I've been to Israel twice, but the first time I went, it was a tour for the National Union students.
Right.
And they were all absolute communists. Right. And literally everything I said, they go, "Oh, you can't say that. That's a disgrace." Right. And you know.
You don't realise most of what you say day to day you can't say. These people don't realise this is you behaving yourself when you're in this situation.
Oh yeah.
This is perfectly normal. It's just these days. The goalposts.
Do you know what? The boss of this, I've never told this story, but I'm going to tell you now. The boss of this channel sat me down. So I was a contributor. I was a presenter's friend on Julia Hartley-Brewer, and I was the first person they promoted from being a contributor to being a presenter. So the boss of the channel went, "Andre, I think you are very talented, but what would you say to me if I said to you, don't I just risk my broadcast licence every time I put you on?" And I went, "I would say to you that the solution to this is very simple. I am a nutter." And he went, "What?" I went, "Well, you know how like Katie Hopkins and Milo Yiannopoulos will just say anything for effect? Yeah. They don't know where the line is because they're just saying anything. Yeah. Whereas if you are a nutter, actually, you do know where the line is.
You just say it anyway.
Yeah. No. You think. So as an example, Katie Hopkins is going to say something racist because she'll say anything to get on TV. Whereas I'm not going to say anything racist because I'm not racist. And I said, he said, "What would be the slogan of your show?" And I said, "I put the fun into fundamentalist." And he went, "Well, you put the mentalist in as well." Totally honest with you. So there's going to be a fly-on-the-wall documentary about you.
And the family.
A little bit more, a lot more fun, really. A little bit of a fun.
Because what people forget is that your husband's a footballer. Yeah. Now football manager.
And my kids are footballers, and my son, my eldest son's, believe it or not, quite like me. Who knew?
Well, he is your child.
I know, but they always seem
he's got big boobs.
Yeah, they always seem really shy, but he's kind of come out of himself a bit. But yeah, so please, people, will you just keep an eye on my socials because it's launching soon, and I want to be able to ask everybody who likes me or dislikes me on this channel to watch. I don't care.
We'll all be watching.
I don't care if you're watching to
Charles,
say
would you
things,
watch Danielle's Fly on the Wall documentary? I just don't think it'd be your bag, really, would it?
You'd be surprised.
Not because it's you, but because I just don't watch those types of documentaries generally.
Oh, but would you just like and subscribe anyway because we've met?
No.
If you subscribe to my Substack.
Okay.
What is a Substack?
That's a fair
Substack
exchange.
is musingindividualist.substack.com for moderate deontological individualist thinking.
What does that mean?
It means the right is independent of the good, but in extreme circumstances I'm willing to compromise rights to promote the good.
And what does that mean? No, we're going around in circles, aren't we?
No, it's not circles, it's just complicated.
Yeah, but so, what do you think...
Charles, is it an easy read? Or is it hard going?
It's hard going, my Substack. It's better to read my popular articles. My YouTube channel got taken down recently.
Why?
I think I infringed too many copyrights.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
What, were you playing tunes or...?
Playing tunes, yeah.
What tunes were you playing?
I think there was some Indiana Jones in there for about 40 seconds, and I think they struck it down for that reason.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Just for the music?
I've mixed feelings.
Well, the robots pick it up, don't they? It's not even...
They pick up years later.
Oh, right, okay.
Well, they did it. I mean, the system shut down this channel on YouTube, didn't it? Because what had happened was, right, in the early days of the AI moderation, it didn't look at the totality of the channel. So it literally said Hartley Brewer was slagging off the vaccines, right, and then half an hour later there was somebody defending them, but it didn't know.
Ah, right, okay, yeah.
So they also didn't know this was part of News Corps, and when they got a letter from the lawyers, they changed it round pretty sharpish.
Yeah, they did.
And gave us all vouchers for Amazon.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did. I never got mine. Yeah. No, I think you had to be staff. Sorry.
Fine.
That's show business. But yeah. Anyway, look, anything because I mean we're talking now. You're going soon, and Danielle. Yeah, I never got it anyway.
Your hair looks nice, though.
Thank you. Do you like my hair?
Yeah, much better than last time I saw it.
And your hair, you got actually quite similar, haven't you?
Have we?
What?
Well, the side part.
What, you mean you both got hair?
You got the side part.
No, I went.
Similar.
Same colour. It's
I went into the hairdresser and I said, "Look, I had to grow my hair long to be. Nobody's ever done that, right? No, I'm joking. But I had to grow my hair long to be Gary Newbon in this new film, right? And so I said, I want it chopped, and I normally have it spiked. And he said, "Sir, I think the days of your spiking it is behind you now."
Oh, good.
It's a bit like Johnny Lydon, isn't it? Yeah, sort of,
he said, look, all it's going to look like is like there's 4 strands just up in the air.
It's like me asking for a Rachel. Danielle.
What's a Rachel?
Oh, Friend. Come on.
Friend.
Everyone asked for a Rachel.
Yeah, we all, even the blokes did.
Have you ever had a vajazzle?
I've never had a vajazzle, no.
Have you ever had a vajazzle, Charles?
I think that's a very
only on his moustache.
Becoming question.
You'd have to have a vajazzle
A moustache.
Okay, well, look, I'll tell you what, Charles, I just want, before you go, because it is important, we're having a bit of a laugh, I just want your prediction of what's going to happen with all of this Keir Starmer situation. I mean, is he just finished after the local elections, or do we keep hurtling towards oblivion?
I have no idea, but I hope he stays. I really do hope he stays, because I think the alternative will be Angela Rayner, and she'll be a lot worse.
Not
and
Miliband.
If we don't have Angela Rayner, we'll have somebody such as Ed Miliband. The only hope would be Wes Streeting, but I very much doubt that he's going to come along.
He'd be better than any of the others.
David Lammy would make a great
Can I just remind you of what Angela Rayner said about her house? She said,
which one?
I need to sell this house because it's where my son lives and I never visit it. And you think, well, that in of itself, you know, the son's disabled and he can afford it. How many people force their child to buy their house on the basis that they never visit him anyway? I mean, that's just awful.
She's still in that thing with the Inland Revenue, isn't she? She also pulled up the drawbridge when she bought a council house. She then pulled up the drawbridge so other people couldn't.
I think the big problem with the big problems with Angela Rayner, when she's going round, she's sat there going, I can't believe that I'm being taxed this much on what I've done for my property. You know, the money's better in my pocket. And you think, yes, Angela, the other person is you, right? When you're going round saying, let's tax the rich, she didn't realise she was talking about herself, because she doesn't see herself as rich. But what people forget, of course, Charles, is to be in the top 10, 20% in this country, you don't have to earn that much.
What, 70,000, £80,000? I don't know. That was just, is that much?
Yeah, I mean, less, and also, of course, the other point to make is that because the nature of this country, some places, I mean, if I was giving the example, if you earn 60 grand a year in Ballymena, you're going to live significantly differently than if you live in Bristol.
Yeah.
Christian Nemitz was saying recently that the income distribution is narrower in the UK than it was in the former Soviet Union.
Really?
Isn't that just extraordinary? Because we've got such high tax rates and such a high minimum wage that we now have a situation where there's less income inequality in the UK, an allegedly capitalist country, than the former Soviet Union.
That's
ridiculous.
Somebody told me that that there are more people working for the public sector in Sheffield than there were in communist Poland.
I don't know about that.
It's probably not quite right.
There's a lot of people on the public sector payroll.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, Charles, thank you so much for coming in. Danielle, you hang around for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I'll stay a bit.
I think you are going to. I love the way she came on to plug her show. What's it called? Hasn't got a name. When's it on? It's not. It's
a tease. I'll be back, Andre.
I'll
be back. I'm just teasing that there's some good things coming, and if anyone is interested, please start following me, because I'll be able to tell them where to go.
Tell them where to get off.
But yeah, I'll be back on the show anyway.
I thought you're coming on after the news, aren't you? You're going to stay with us till after the news.
Yes.
Anyway, 03444991000. Phone about anything or what we've been talking about. Danielle Nichols here. Charles is going. It's Andre and Ash on Talk. We'll be back after the news.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yeah. Oh, I like this bit of music. Yeah,
I do, and I like your little picture at the beginning that develops with Andre and Ash.
Do you know what they said on Have I Got News For You about Ash?
No.
When he was on Have I Got News For You with Lizzie Cundy, they spent the entire makeup budget on
Oh,
her.
no, yeah, I did see that.
And they went, is that bloke Beethoven?
Yeah, I didn't have hair like Beethoven at the time. Anyway, look, we're going to go through your papers.
You've got
and take your
wonderful
calls.
hair.
Thanks, man. It's all
By the way, I've just got to say this to you. There's a website which has got Royal Ascot trousers for sale for 20 quid. So I'm sorry, I don't care if it's a dereliction of duty. You're just going to have to talk about the papers while I buy them online. So
You're not buying a pair of trousers with a 28 waist.
Yeah,
you buy two pairs and get them adjusted time together.
How are you going to work that out?
I know somebody with a 28 inch.
Oh, well, there you go then. That's
Right,
okay.
let's start with the Sun. UK shoplifting crisis. Greggs are scrapping self-service displays. Anti-theft drive is most trusted yet.
I know, who knew?
Pork knocks, and Greggs. Well, basically, you have to go and ask for your pasta.
Well, who knew that people, when you make them do their own checking out, sometimes steal things?
Low trust.
It's just
yeah, but it
madness.
never used to happen. We've got to
What do you mean it never used to happen?
Well,
you didn't used to have to check your own blooming shopping through. You'd think you'd get something for the inflated prices.
I've got to tell you something. I'm not advocating for people to steal, but you feel like an idiot paying. Don't you?
Well,
Everyone
it's
just walks out.
It's so expensive.
I mean, as well with the tray yesterday at London Bridge Station, they even now ask the guards to open the door, and the guards just open the door for the kids. You know what I mean? Actually press the button to let them.
Oh, I bought a ticket.
What do you mean?
Well, you know the kids like barge through normally.
Right.
Now they just say to the guard, "Oh, can you buzz me through?" And they just buzz them through anyway. They don't. You know what I mean?
I noticed that. I was in.
Oh, so
what's the
even
point?
if they don't buy a ticket.
So he's right. He's like, he makes you feel like an idiot.
Well, yeah, because you've gone to the trouble of actually purchasing a ticket.
Yeah, but all you have to do is speak to the black guy. Can you open the gate? And they go, yeah.
I mean, it's just,
Are you serious?
Well, you have to probably look like, you know, a youth.
a youth.
You know what I mean?
So, you mean if you're young,
He was
they'll
a white kid, but he had a baseball, and they probably think, oh, well, I don't want any trouble. You know, if me or you did it, they go, well, what's this upstanding member of... What's he talking about? I'm not going to buzz him through. Whereas some kid, they go, oh, I can't be bothered with the hassle.
Do you know what? When I went to... Was it Ascot? It was. I got absolutely stitched because it was one of the train stations where you beep in, but you can't beep out. And I got accused of trying to steal a fare or something. I was like, no, I beeped in. Well, you can't beep out. Well, if you don't tell me that, you let me beep in.
Oh, I know what you did.
Do you know what I mean?
Ascot
so,
didn't have...
So they sent me, So they said, right, we need your name and address, and I paid it. So I had to pay, like, a £20, and then they sent me, like, this extra... like fine, which I also paid, and I thought, you cheeky.
I'll tell you what happened to me once. I like the barriers because you know the very nature.
I just like the fact that if you're going to let someone beep the card in, let them beep it out at the other end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or say you can't beep it in because you're going to need to buy a ticket. Because I could have had, it took me 5 seconds on train line to just go, boop, there's a ticket.
Absolutely.
Well, so they probably made $1 million
I
from
wasn't
that.
trying to. Where was I going? I wasn't going anywhere.
What makes me laugh is you've got these legion of ticket inspectors, and then some kid just pushes through the barrier.
And that's what I realised. I watched loads of people just walk straight past her. Yeah. And afterwards, I was angry at myself because I thought I should have just walked straight past her. Because it would have naturally just charged me for the longest fare, which should have been the price of the fare.
I'll tell you what I did.
I ended up paying twice.
This is the best rip-off I've ever done of the railway, and it's entirely legal.
Go on.
Right.
Now, this is where he gets himself... Do you remember when I said, before the news, that he'll get himself in trouble?
It was my younger brother's birthday in Manchester, and I needed to be at Manchester Piccadilly at 7 o'clock after work. Right. That is peak. That is peak?
Yes.
OK.
That's a peak ticket.
Now, let me just be clear.
Oh.
There are no peak tickets in the afternoon to Lancaster. Right.
Why?
So what I did...
I didn't know that.
So what I did was...
Is this
I bought a ticket from Lancaster to London return. Yeah. And I discarded the first bit. Then I went to the guy and he went, sorry, you can't get on this train. And I said, I'm allowed an up to 1 month stopover on my return journey, right? And my 1 month stopover I plan to take in Manchester. And because of that, I could take an off-peak ticket and get on the train to Manchester Piccadilly.
So how much? You saved quite a lot of money.
No,
it
saved about... No, you saved more than that.
Really?
I bet you...
I mean, what ridiculous. You can fly to Manchester.
300
It's cheaper to fly to Manchester than...
So just to explain, as long as you are going to Lancaster, you are allowed to get off at any intervening station on the return portion of the journey.
Is that allowed, is it?
So you say, what I was going to do was, I was going to change it...
I'm curious how you've got how that's not an off-peak ticket back
because
to
I'm going to
Lancaster.
Lancaster.
Yeah, but why is Lancaster not got?
Because it's I don't know. I mean,
we're googling that. We are googling that.
One would assume it's because if you're going all the way to Scotland, actually, the peak is not that important to you. So a lot of these peak
services... That's very hurtful to this. You're saying there's no peak time in Scotland?
I remember I had a friend of mine...
Saying the journey takes too long by the time you arrive.
I remember I had a friend of mine, it was awful. We both got on the same train, and I had a Lancaster ticket, he had a Wigan one, and he didn't realise... because I just get on then, it doesn't bother me because I have a ticket to Lancaster when I worked in Lancaster.
Do you ever go to Lancaster?
Yeah, I used to work in Lancaster, which is how I know. And they fined him £180.
Punished for not going to Lancaster.
They fined him £180
because it was a peak service to Wigan.
Lancaster didn't know the loophole.
Peak to Lancaster.
Oh, they're a joy, aren't they? Those
you know the bloke did.
It is cheaper to fly, by the way. It's cheaper to fly
there and back.
Well, maybe not now, but it's cheaper to fly back to London than
you go to Europe for 30 quid.
My favourite thing, I realised...
It's cheaper to fly to Portugal, then go from Portugal back to Manchester. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Luton or Stansted or whatever to Portugal to Manchester, cheaper than the on-peak
probably quicker as well with our train service.
Have you gone mad?
I'll tell you what I thought was what I'm really pleased about. I've discovered where I live now, there's loads of British Airways staff that live there, and there is a bus which is £6 to Heathrow Terminal 5.
He's found another loophole.
Right, and what you can do is...
Andre's loophole.
You're not going to believe this service.
You just pretend you work for BS.
No, I think it's £3 for them and £6 for normal people.
Okay.
But here's what you do. You tell it to come, and it just comes to get you. It goes, the next one's going to be about 20 minutes. So it comes to your house.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
No, it doesn't. You're lying.
It does.
There's no way.
He's lying, isn't he?
So what happens is, it works out who needs picking up, and it goes to wherever they need picking up.
No.
Jimmy
There's no way. There's no way that happens. There's no way.
Anyway, this is...
Somebody...
By the way, let me just say
bullshit.
Let me say,
I smell bullshit. What's that smell?
Let me just tell you one thing about the front page of the Sun and this situation with Greggs. How delighted is everybody that you can now buy Greggs sausage rolls frozen that you can put in your air fryer whenever you want them. Have you bought them yet, Danielle?
Not yet, but I have heard that they're really nice.
The actual ones.
I tell you what, have you?
Although,
did you know?
Get they're cheap anyway, the sausage rolls, aren't they?
Yeah, but
I think it's the same price, frozen or fresh.
I've got a Greggs loophole. Do you know about the Greggs warehouses?
What?
No.
Yeah, there's like clothes shops have a Greggs, and it's a cheap factory shop. There's a Greggs factory shop by Regent's Park. There's one. And they won't. There's some things they go, we heat up your pasta, but we won't heat up. There's some strange rules.
There's like weird rules about what they can and can't heat up.
Yeah, but it's like less than half the price. You know what I mean? It's like
so they've got like a Bicester outlet village thing, like the Trafford Centre.
By Regent's Park.
Cheshire Oaks.
Greggs in Cheshire Oaks, where you can buy last season's pasties.
I went out in Chester the other day and realised how nice it was to shop where it wasn't like absolutely everybody rammed, and I was like, oh, maybe I'm becoming a country girl.
Didn't your sister say that she never used to like shopping with you when you were on CITV?
Yeah, she wouldn't come shopping with me at
the Trafford Centre.
Yeah, she was like, no, I'm not going. It's ridiculous. All I do is take pictures all the time.
I was 19. I had a friend of mine who told me Right, I can't imagine how this was, but for security reasons, when Margaret Thatcher wanted to go shopping for Christmas, they used to have to take her to Blue Water because it was quite easy to get in and out and whatever, and they could have the cars parked there. I think my mate went with her once, and he said it's like completely bizarre.
Yeah, because imagine you go, like, no, that's not Margaret Thatcher.
And apparently they said it would just be her private secretary, and then sort of 4 bodyguards just walking by the people and go, it's Maggie! Maggie's gone shopping.
You don't think about that, because there's still people
But I remember my mum said this. My mum went into a supermarket once, and she saw the local priest. She went, what are you doing here? And he went, priests shop as well.
Yeah.
And she went, that's a good
Remember when you were a kid and you used to think that teachers lived at school?
The other top story in the Sun, PM blasts US on Falklands, and Sir Keir Starmer rebuked the US last night after Pentagon email suggested its backing of British control of the Falklands could be reviewed. They want the Falklands back. His mates with the Argentinian Premier. Should we just give them back or sell them to him? There's a lot of oil there, and we might be able to frack it out. We haven't got any real military much anymore, or navy, but it is heavily defended since 1982 because obviously we added defence there. Would you give up the Falklands? I mean, should we sell it to them?
I think the whole idea...
It's not that like Chagos, it's not that important strategically.
I think...
but a lot of men died for it, and actually, Simon Weston...
Do you know the good people of the Falklands are the most defended people on Earth?
Really?
It costs £250,000 for every man, woman and child to defend the Falklands.
Should we sell it? And Falklands hero Simon Weston's fury at Donald Trump. He's obviously not happy because they sacrificed his lives. I mean, when you look at Afghanistan, all the men that sacrifice and women that sacrifice their lives for us, and then they just give it all up, and it was all pointless.
But the big problem with the Falklands, right? If you look at that referendum on whether to become part of Argentina, 99.9% of people voted to stay British. The only people who voted against it, there was a local councillor and his wife who voted to become part of Argentina to prove you could do it. So as not to... And
they were probably like the Keir Starmer of the Falklands.
And they came out of the polling booth saying, we have voted for Argentina to prove there was no coercion in the election, but actually, we want to be British as well.
They were then lynched by the rest of the population.
Nobody at all was in favour.
Well, like Gibraltar, it's the same thing, isn't it? Absolutely. They all want to remain British, of course.
I think the one thing I will say about the Falklands is they were talking about... they've been talking for years about getting oil and gas from it, and it's never really happened.
Rock hopper.
But what they've said is, the first thing that's going to happen they were talking about if they do find oil in the Falklands, every man, woman and child in the Falklands will be worth between 10 and 60 million pounds, right? Just be some crazy sum. So what the British government have said is, first of all, you've got to pay for your own defence out of this before anybody gets anything. They said then, we are willing to make you all millionaires, but the majority of the money will go to Argentina. Because of the Argentina.
It's British owned. I mean, the thing is, there is a load of oil out there. They just can't extract it.
Well, what they said was...
I just don't understand why we don't have any resources at all. I don't understand.
What they said was they're not willing to have an argument with Argentina about the oil and gas. The idea of having people in the Falklands worth £50 million whilst the Argentines are all lining up for an invasion is just not a great thing. I think it's important to bear in mind that the Falklands is British because it wants to be British. It's not because we're bothered about the oil and gas off the coast of Argentina.
And it was never part of Argentina ever as well. 03444991000. Daniel Nichols is with us going through the papers. It's Andre and Ash on top. We'll be back with the mail.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is Talk. This is the Late Show with Andre Walker, Ashley Gould and Danielle Nichols. Return of Danielle Nichols.
Hey,
We're so pleased you're here.
Thank you. Are you?
No.
By the way,
Not at all.
look, this front page of the Mail, what is on her face?
Oh, yeah, it's black paint. I am curious about
I thought
this.
it was a dirty protest.
Be interested. No, so I saw the initial article. So this is the explanation as to why.
It's a bride covered on her wedding day, covered in black paint.
Basically, her sister-in-law, threw black paint over on her wedding day.
Oh, that's nice, that is.
So this is the exclusive. Why did I hurl a tin of black paint?
Right, the
over
slight
my
problem is it then says turn to page 3.
We'll have
Can
to
we
make it
turn
up.
to page 24 and 25, and we've not
I
got
think it's
it.
probably jealousy.
The worst picture I've ever seen
Go on.
from a wedding, the worst thing I've ever seen was a picture. There was this wedding and all the blokes were in kilts.
And they lifted their kilts.
And the best man sat on the bride's knee, and when he got up, there was a skid mark on her dress.
No.
A big brown skid mark on it.
No.
He obviously hadn't either worn pants or wiped his bum properly.
We don't wear pants traditionally. Anyway, moving on.
He's drank too much, more likely.
But can I tell you, right, if you had...
He'd risked a fart.
If you had a stripe of poo on your wedding dress, you would go absolutely wild.
Yes.
It's a memento of the day, though, isn't it? She's probably on a frame.
Absolutely wild.
Ooh, where would you find that? Where would you even see that?
He looks for it.
Doesn't
My other favourite picture from the internet, and I know it's very cruel, is this girl on Facebook. She goes, oh, and she got this this tortoise, and she goes, I found this little fella wandering around in the local park. So don't worry, I've taken him to a local lake. And it shows a picture of him throwing, and somebody replies underneath going, this is a tortoise, not a turtle. It can't swim.
Oh, no. No.
I mean, that is awful, isn't it?
I would not ever like to see your algorithm on
That would be so...
Ever.
It's a bit sad, but, I mean, it is quite funny. She's tried...
It's very sad.
We got a picture of the...
Go on.
Oh, here, this is the woman, the bride. If you're listening on the radio, it's a bride in a beautiful bright dress tiara with a load of black paint all down her dress and face. And it's from a sister. We don't know why, but obviously they didn't get on very well.
Yeah, family feuds and all that, obviously.
The other Daily Mail story, the main story. King flies into a US storm over Falklands days before Charles's visit. Leaked memo says Trump could act support for UK sovereignty. The King will fly into a Falkland storm on his state visit to America as Charles prepared for his transatlantic trip. Donald Trump is considering withdrawing support for UK sovereignty over the British territory. A leaked Pentagon email. Have they leaked it on purpose to have a go at Starmer?
Yes. You know what I mean? But do you remember when Barack Obama... wanted to give the Falklands give the Falklands to Argentina, and he wants to call them Las Malvinas, which is the Falklands, which is the Argentine name, but he actually called them the Maldives. And he began making this speech about the Maldives. Like,
everyone's going, what?
What the hell have the Maldives got to do with Argentina?
He handed the Maldives to Argentina, and they go, it's a long way, you know what I mean?
How far
Thanks
is
for
it?
that.
About 20,000 miles away.
I remember when he came over at Gordon Brown, they exchanged presents, and Gordon Brown gave him a part of a historical wooden ship. It was all framed nicely.
Yeah.
And Barack Obama gave Gordon Brown 10 of the top DVDs of America that year, and they were region specific, so they didn't even work anyway. This $100.
The region code. What he needed a cracked DVD player. Get one off the market.
I can't watch Home Alone. Right.
Gordon Brown, what a nightmare that man. I've got to say, I mean, he was awful, wasn't he?
Weren't he? My mum didn't like him. I remember that when I was a kid.
That bigoted woman who organised that. Sue. I wouldn't mind Gillian Duffy. I'd had a great time. She's like, you're joking. Do you not remember that?
No.
The bigoted woman.
No.
So what happened was...
He left a mic on.
Oh, yes, I do remember that.
He was in Rochdale.
Yes, I do.
He was in a car, wasn't he? He still had the mic on.
He gets in, he goes, well, that was a disaster.
He was still on his mic,
And I remember when the presenter, he was live on the radio, and he went, Prime Minister, can you listen to this? And he went like that, and he goes, that bigoted. And he went like this, live on air, when it was like this.
Oh. Not again.
I love the way he went to Gillian Duffy's house to apologise, and he clearly hoped that she'd come out with him and kiss and make up, and she refused. Gillian and I had a frank discussion.
I met that bigot and we had a lovely cup of tea.
What makes me laugh though, if it had been me, that would have been so much worse. Who was that effing?
Oh yeah, would have been in trouble.
What makes me laugh though, she was very happy. She felt reassured by the Prime Minister was going to vote for him. Anyway,
there you go.
She auctioned the coat off for charity.
Yeah, she does.
No, red coat.
Yeah.
That scabby red coat. Yeah. Somebody bought. It's a piece of political history now, isn't it? The bigoted woman coat.
The dark side of Prince in the Mirror. X claims rock star beater, but obviously he's not there to defend himself. He's a very small man, but obviously, we don't know.
Oh, come on. If Prince had beaten you up, you would have just laughed at him, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he was about 5'4", but you've got to take these things. Sometimes a small man syndrome. And he was very nimble.
If he came for and attacked you could have just kicked his teeth in.
Yeah, but a woman might not. You know what I mean? If she's, he was quite a nimble. He could probably jump, flip in the air, and Anyway, dog attack. He's a dangerous man. Don't misjudge.
Well, that dog would fix him.
Yeah, he's not a ninja the way.
Just to be clear, Prince was not a ninja.
He was like the way he used to do his dance move. He could jump like Jane. He could flip in the air, dance around.
No. We're not. We're not.
I don't think he was an acrobat.
Yeah, you pretty much. He could jump up and land in the splits.
Yeah,
well, that's not very good in a fight, is it?
And unless split
the only way
to slide
the only way that would be useful is if the fight was in West Side Story.
Dog attack stubble. Maulings causing injury and death surge to an 81 a day since lockdown. And these vicious dogs, it's not always, but in the main, it's these XL bullies and dogs. You wouldn't let someone walk around with a lion, would you? And some of these dogs are as vicious as and the way they're treated as well, because they're treated as trophy symbols.
I don't like.
You see them in parks making them hang off branches, training them up to fight, and obviously these dogs are nutters anyway, and then they get trained wound up, and it kills people, kills adults now.
I just don't understand. I don't think that.
I don't know why people get a dog that's just a weapon dog.
I don't.
Because of that reason, it's like having
a pet.
It's a legal weapon.
Yeah, but the thing is, okay, so. If you take a weapon dog out and set it on somebody, you go to prison anyway, right?
Well,
it's not like you can say...
Yeah, but they don't. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah. I mean, all right, it's marginally better. All right, if you take, a carving knife out with you, you'll be arrested for just having the knife.
Yes.
But either way, if you use a weapon dog or
but you could say, it just went on. It's like, I didn't tell it to do anything.
It doesn't matter. You'll still suffer the consequences.
The dog, but nothing much happens to the person. Well, actually, it can do if it kills someone.
Who was it? What was it? Was it Princess Anne who got someone who had a dog savaged?
I don't know.
Princess Anne savaged somebody, I'm sure.
Princess Anne
personally,
she savaged
someone.
Right, do you know what we do? What we do now? We get the AI.
Happens.
Did Princess Anne set her dog and savage someone?
Can you believe this?
Yeah, look, I'll get the answer. I don't have to know everything off the top of my head now. It's a step forward.
What, AI?
Yeah.
You've just found AI?
Princess
Anne found ChatGPT.
Princess Anne did not.
This is a worry, isn't it?
Princess Anne did not. Right, listen. Princess Anne did not set the dog on it, but the dog attacked anyway. She has received. She received a punishment. She received.
And it wasn't Princess Anne herself, just to be clear.
She didn't personally maul.
She had to pay £500 fine and £500 compensation.
Did she?
Does this mean she's a convicted criminal?
No. No, I don't think so. In the Daily Star, toddler has a tantrum in the White House Oval Room, and it's not a man baby. And there we have a little 2-year-old, Travis Smith. He threw a tantrum in the Oval Office after his mum, Sierra, was invited there by US President Donald Trump. The man baby later threw his toys out of the pram over Britain and the Falklands, and there's a very cute picture of a little 2-year-old lying on the floor. It's a woman who was invited there called Travis Smith. The kid's Travis. The kid's Travis, and the mother, Sierra, was invited.
Just to be clear, as a mum, how often does that sort of thing?
Do you know what? All the time, and I feel for her, and she's smiling in that picture because.
He's just lying on his face on the floor.
When they said, "Oh, you can bring your son with you," I bet she's thinking, please just behave for one afternoon.
Yeah, but you can bet all those blokes and Trump loved it that this was happening, and it shows a human side, doesn't it?
I like stuff like that.
Was it you?
I always let mine tantrum. You get the odd person who could...
Not on a plane. It's not acceptable on a plane.
But in the middle of the supermarket, I'd pretend I'd walk away, but I'd obviously be watching them from the end of the supermarket aisle, and then they suddenly go like this. Because they think, oh, where's my mum gone?
And then they worry.
Tantrum over.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
There's a thing.
That's a good trick.
There's a trick called Jessica. Yeah, have you heard it?
No.
Called Jessica.
No, I was talking about that trick.
No, but there is. Yeah, that's the one. I always use distraction. It's a similar trick, and I thought, I've been doing that forever, mate. But it's going round the social media at the moment. So the kid's mid tantrum, and the mum goes, "Oh, Jessica." And apparently, because there's no Jessica in this child's life, the kid goes, "Jessica."
And then
and the same response. So they
diversion
say,
tactics.
"Call for Jessica."
Diversion.
Yeah, and it's a diversion tactic.
I think you also said that when it was the King's coronation.
All leave the room. That's another good one because they're in the middle of the room, and I'll go, right, come on, we all
take
have
them
to
down
go
the
into a
orphanage
different
and just
room.
leave them there.
Oh, and then they'll literally go, because there's no one watching the paddy. They kind of go, where'd everyone go?
But what about... I remember you saying that the day of the King's coronation, I'm sure it was you that said it, Prince Louis was in a black household cavalry uniform, and you went, I don't know why they give him that, and then you thought... Then you said, then I thought to myself, oh, we'll have it all down this top.
That's
when
right.
when they go out to wave,
when they go out to wave,
there'll be all this
someone said something like, oh, it puts a child in such a dark colour. Good idea, mate. Good idea.
It should be the same colour as the vomit.
Bogging.
So you should have vomit-coloured clothes.
Yeah, you should. No, not vomitness. It's not. They're not. They're not.
Brownie green.
They're over the vomiting as a toddler. It's more sticky feet. Do you know what kids think that you're like the white cloth?
Yeah, they wipe.
So they just go down whatever.
Or their own clothes as well.
You can't wear white while you've got toddlers because it's just.
Anyway, you've got to go soon. Is there anything you'd like to tell us about before you go and what's going on? Promote your show again.
Yeah, just please follow me on the socials and please support our new venture when I eventually do. It actually is really
like
good.
At
It's
Home
about,
with the Osbournes
it's
and
about
Kardashians.
a month out. It's about a month out.
You're doing a bit of filming tomorrow because of a football match?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
No, because it's all going to be...
Is it in Bungo?
Well,
my bingo show's back on at the end of June, beginning of July, but I will be back here to tell you all about everything.
When you say you can't say that you're filming in a football match, I mean, given that your husband is the assistant manager of Hull and they're playing Charlton tomorrow, and you're in London. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you
it's
need
not
to be
rocket science.
You don't need to be Wagatha Christie.
No.
I love that Wagatha Christie.
Yeah, it's obviously Selhurst Park.
Anyway, thank you very much for having me on, chaps, and I shall be back.
You shall.
Like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Anyway, give us your ring 0344 1000. Thanks, Daniel. It's Andre and Ash. We're going through the papers a bit more and taking your calls in 2 minutes after this.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, it's the Late Show with Andre Walker and Asher Gould. Yeah, OK, what's next in the papers, Asher?
Well, actually, let's go to Roger in Hounslow, who's got a story about Prince in London. Roger in Hounslow. Hi, Roger.
Come on, Roger. Roger.
Hi there. How you doing, guys?
All right, man. Yeah, I heard the word on the street is you've met Prince and had a bit of trouble with Prince.
Sort of. Let me tell you the beginning of the story. I met a very nice young lady in Ibiza, and got her number. And then when I returned to the UK, I phoned her up, hired a really nice, expensive car to take her out, and we went to Stringfellows when it was still a nightclub.
Class.
Yep.
And we had a lovely table and all that. And then all of a sudden, this great big man came over, and he was a bouncer or I don't know,
security man,
security man for Prince, who's like 5'4". Anyway, this girl was 5'10", and I'm about 5'10" as well. And he asked her if she would like to join Prince and his entourage on his table.
And she left you in a second, and you never saw her again.
Exactly.
Oh!
Well, that would happen. I mean, people used to go mad for any celebrities, but Prince was the number one. You know, women used to just find him so sexy, which is odd, you know, for a 5'4" man. But he was, I suppose, a very sexy man. He was nimble, like I said.
He was not nimble.
Did you see him dancing at Stringfellows?
Right. Why are we obsessed about the nimble dancing?
He's a very nimble man.
Nimble
was Peter Stringfellow there? I mean, what happened that night? Did you look at her and go, "What are you doing? Doesn't it mean more?"
I looked at her from a distance, and I was watching her enjoying herself. And then when the slow songs came on, they were like snogging, if that's still a word. Yeah. And I just left, and I didn't even say goodbye. I just got in my car and went.
Well, I mean, it would have been a bit embarrassing if you'd have sat there for another 2 hours and then gone bye.
Did you ever? So, I mean, how long had you been seeing her when this happened?
Well, that was the first night out after I got back from Ibiza.
At least it wasn't like 8 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But here is the critical question, Roger. If you'd have been her, what would you have done?
If I'd have been her, I would have said no to Prince because he's a short ass.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not
a very nimble dancer. Why are we going on about nimble dancers?
He's a very nimble man. Were you nimble yourself?
He's not a ninja.
There was one other thing I need to...
but hold on, were you a pop star or a DJ? You were at
Ibiza? No, I was a tour guide.
Yeah, you see, that's it. It's like a pop star or
Have you seen this Ibiza final boss guy?
He is 5'4".
But I need to just tell you one other thing. I bought her a nice leather jacket when they were still fashionable, obviously, for like over £100. And the next day she rang me up and she said, "I've lost my jacket. Did you take it?" I said, "No."
Oh, the night after Stringfellows?
Yeah, the next day.
So what happened?
Then you saw Prince wearing it on his world tour, didn't
Prince half-inched the jacket.
Yeah, was it a purple one? He loved purple, didn't he? Everything he had purple.
Well, this one was brown.
Oh, he wouldn't have had it. Did he have the lights turned off and the candles put up? Because apparently Prince would insist on candles being lit and all the lights. He did,
He had a massive table and all the lights were off. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and also his security guards, sometimes he'd ride their back like a horse.
What?
I'm
sure he's making this up.
No, he used to, because he hired wrestlers and he's 5'4", so he used to literally just jump on their back and they'd walk around with him on his back. And if you look, there's some great footage. Look after the show of
I'll tell you what, Purple Aki did similar.
James Brown and Michael Jackson, and then Prince comes on the stage and he's riding one of his security guards back, because if you were a real powerful guy, you didn't have to walk and you had a man that could carry.
Security.
Why not?
Why not?
Well, because it's like your horse.
You met those security downstairs. You met that one that looks like Paul Bearer.
Yeah, sometimes I ride round him on the lobby sometimes.
My Undertaker.
So yeah, what are you still? What do you do? You're not a tour guide anymore, are you, Roger?
No, I'm not. No, I'm a chauffeur now.
Oh yeah. What car have you got?
I've got a Rolls-Royce Phantom.
Ooh,
Can you take me to Royal Ascot?
I can. Well, I'm booked up that week, but I can probably manage a double journey.
Because all you have to do is pick me up at Windsor.
Yeah, how much is it though? It's not going to be cheap.
I might be able to do that.
It's not going to be cheap.
All right, get his number. Right, this is like the 80s. Bring me a pizza. Yeah, we're going to take down your number, Roger, because I want to know, and I will WhatsApp you tonight talking about because I'm not far. I don't care about the show now. Right.
It's only up the road.
Exactly. So you drop off your first person. Come get me.
Do you ever pick up celebrities? Do you ever do celebrities now, or were you too much hurt by Prince? You don't.
I tell you who I've driven. I've driven Jeremy Clarkson.
Yeah.
A bloke called Anthony Costa from Blue.
Oh, I know him.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, Miley Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus.
I do. It's not that unbelievable.
Have you seen that Keith Lemon?
I mean, if you said Elvis, I'd go, well, that's pretty.
She was very rude and wouldn't even talk to me.
Did Clarkson like the car? Did he comment on your driving?
Clarkson was drunk at the time.
Well, that's not unusual, is it? I mean, he was always ailed, isn't it?
I picked him up from the BBC studios when they were in Shepherd's Bush, Wood Lane, and I drove him to Oxfordshire where he lived at the time. He was all right. He was quite funny.
He's all right unless he wants a steak.
Did Miley Cyrus have a hammer in the back and she sort of licked it in a provocative fashion?
No.
Like a licking ball. Do you remember that? Or she licked the hammer.
Her dad was good.
Can I ask you a question?
Shoot.
Yeah.
If Danielle had been in the position of the girl I was with, would she have run off with Prince?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh.
I mean, not now with her husband, but when she was
No. Do you know what Danielle would have done? I'll tell you what Danielle would have done. Danielle would have gone over to Prince and basically failed to notice that she wasn't allowed to bring Dean with her. Right? That's what she would have done. So there would have been the three of you, and she'd just gone, oh, it'd be fine, right? And just because I think that's probably the classy move, isn't it? To just upgrade everyone.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
when she rang you back about the leather jacket, did you ask about how she got on with Prince?
No.
You just never spoke to her again.
Basically, the conversation was, did you take my leather jacket? I said no. She goes, well, I've lost it. I don't know what's happened to it. I said, too bad, and hung up.
You should have actually said, I'll tell you, but tell me what you did with Prince first. And then when you see, think outside the box, Roger.
I think she spent the night with him, if I'm honest.
I bet it was I bet it was the night of her life.
Or was he nimble?
I bet he was nimble.
We'll
never know. If she's, can you find a number and ask if Prince was nimble?
Right. Look, Roger.
He's nimble.
Roger, do not hang up, because on my screen I cannot see your phone number. Joe is going to get the phone. Have you got it? You got it?
Yeah.
You got it, Joe? Yeah. Got a Rolls Royce for Asker. Last year I went by helicopter, but this year we're just going to downgrade.
No. Hang on a minute. Hang on. I can't compete with a helicopter.
Well, no, you're not going to believe this. A very, very, very lovely former flatmate of mine. He's very, very rich. And he said, Andre, do you want to lift back to London? And I said, yeah, if you drive. And he went, yeah. And so what we had to do was we had to go into the middle of it, of the Royal Ascot Stadium, or whatever you want to call it, the ground, the racecourse. And we got into a Bentley, and they drove us. They stopped everyone. They drove us to an impromptu airport that had been built on the golf club opposite Ascot Racecourse, and they served champagne and dinner and whatever. And then they just said, "What time do you want to take off?" And we go, well, we'll just sit here for another hour or whatever, have a few drinks. It was amazing. God knows what it cost.
Terrified, no. At least you're drunk, you're not terrified. But if you're not...
They just go, Mr. Richardson, what time do you want to take off? I mean, how is that? How is that life? How is that life?
It's good, but, you see a lot of these celebrities suddenly die in helicopter
crashes. Well, I had a friend of mine who...
Get you there in 5 minutes, but you might die.
I had a friend of mine who's a helicopter pilot, and he said the big problem is that you can't fly them in bad weather, and the number of billionaires who go, just fly the bloody thing.
Yeah, and also if one little bit goes, like I think in the one that happened at Leicester City, just a little pin came out of a pedal. And so many things. It's not like a plane that'll glide. They can glide a tiny bit, but once they go, it's like a lead weight.
Right, Roger, I'm going to WhatsApp you during the break, I think, because...
Okay, Andre, if you've got a lot of mates, I also have a stretched limo.
I'm not taking a stretch limo to Ascot.
How did that happen? What did you do? You want to be more careful. You get a stretch limo.
No. Do you know what? We're all coming from different places. All I need is a quick hop from Windsor.
Anyway,
no worries.
Thanks, Roger. We're going to have another Prince story from Alison in County Antrim. Amazing after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is Talk. And let me be clear, you've got to be in it to win it. I've already messaged Roger. Right? Straight on.
Carol says, I remember nimble bread. Don't think you can get it now. We're talking about nimble.
Right, well, he's not nimble.
Prince was nimble.
Why are we suddenly...
Well, I just mentioned how he was nimble. And,
where did nimble come from suddenly?
Well, you know, we were talking about he was potentially being a ninja.
He was not a ninja. He was not a ninja.
Anyway, look, we've got some more Prince data from Alison. Sheena Easton as well. Remember Sheena Easton? County Antrim. Alison, how you doing? Evening.
Evening. Hello.
Hi. So, did you came across Prince in your life?
Well, no, not came across him, but I've always been a big fan of his music.
Yeah.
Well, that's not very interesting.
Yeah, but you've got a story.
I mean, Roger went to Stringfellows with him.
We all like. I mean, you've
It's always fascinated me, right?
Yeah, but have you got a personal? I thought you had a personal Prince story.
You
just liked
exactly,
Prince.
No.
Oh. I mean, phoning up just to say you liked Prince.
No, that's all right. Let's hear the story. Let's hear a story.
I was a schoolgirl in the 1980s, and
you were a what girl? A stone girl?
No, a schoolgirl.
What? A schoolgirl?
A schoolgirl.
All of my school pals they had a real crush or fascination with Prince.
He had some exuding sexuality that women went mad for, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't know. He didn't. I mean, I didn't really like him in that way, but I just think as an artist,
Yeah, well, he wasn't incredible. I don't think there's ever anyone been like Prince, because he would not only write all those songs, he'd play all the instruments, then he'd be the engineer and producer in the studio, and then he'd design everything and do all the dance routines. And there's no really anyone else has done that.
Yeah, well, I heard that he actually taught himself how to play and, the instruments.
But he was obviously a very talented man, and obviously a lot of influence from James Brown and other people like that.
Yeah. But no, it always fascinated me, the whole story with Sheena Easton, because apparently it was like a really weird date, right? Because, like, he didn't speak to her. They didn't exchange any words. Like, it was all...
Prince didn't need to do that.
You have to communicate through the eyes. But apparently, like, they had this really wild notion of each other at that period. I think it was like 1985 or something.
Yeah, that's right, I remember. I mean, because the funny thing is, Sheena Easton was this Scottish girl, wasn't she? And then she was on That's Life with Esther Ranson. And then 9 to 5 was... no, it wasn't 9 to... What was it? A Modern Girl had this massive hit, and then she became... And then she sort of died off, but did something, and Prince met her, and then Prince brought her in, and she was singing with Prince. This Sheena girl who'd been on That's Life was singing with Prince.
Yeah. It just... I mean... To me, he's always been, larger than life.
Yeah,
no doubt.
He's not larger than life. He's smaller than life.
I met this woman in. I was in a club in London, and I met this woman.
But.
Yeah. I met this woman, and I was just chatting to her, and she was from Bradford. I think she was a Pakistani or Indian, and I was chatting to her, and I said, "So what do you do?" And she went, "Oh, well, I manage Prince." And it was this British woman, this Asian British woman, was the manager of Prince. You'd think he'd have some American big agent, but it was this woman from like Bradford who was his manager.
So what does this mean? I don't get this. I loved Prince, but sad the way he treated his women singers. Shame they gave him too many painkillers because he was wearing his boots. What does that mean?
Well, he died in his lift on fentanyl, didn't he? He was a heroin addict, and he died. He had his own personal lift at Paisley Park, and they found him dead in it. I think he was, he died of... Well, a lot of celebrities, we hear them all dying of these, overdoing these drugs that they've got their own personal doctors that obviously say yes to everything.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Alison, do you know about how he treated his singers and women that he was with? Because there's rumours about that stuff in the papers, in the Mirror today. Dark Side of Prince.
There always was all that speculation about how he treated women and stuff.
Yeah.
And like misogyny. I mean, probably like, picture this, right? Yeah. I reckon if he was around nowadays, he would just be cancelled.
Do you think?
Like, even though, despite having so much musical talent, which...
Well, talent doesn't protect you, although it does in a way. I mean, Michael Jackson, they still play all his songs on the radio. Sometimes the songs overtake the artist, don't they?
I've got to be honest with you. I watched some of these debates about whether they should play Michael Jackson's music. And the reality is, point number one, he was not convicted of any crimes. Point number two, he's now dead. And so what you're talking about is his children, who clearly are not been accused of anything, will get more or less money depending on how much you play his songs. It doesn't make any difference to him because he's dead.
Blanket, it was his kid, wasn't it? Blanket Jackson.
Prince Michael I and Prince Michael II.
And Blanket.
I mean, that was just mad.
Blanket. Yeah, he named one of his kids Blanket.
All right.
I mean, that's weird names, isn't it?
I'll tell you one thing that is
Blanket.
I'll tell you one thing that is that was bizarre. I'll tell you what was bizarre about Michael Jackson. There were a number of things that were bizarre. In that court case, he denied molesting kids, but he freely admitted that he liked doing sleepovers with 10-year-olds when he was 45, right? That is at best creepy. That is at best creepy.
Oh, that's weird. Oh, man,
I had a mate who knew Mark. I had a mate who knew Mark Ronson, and as a kid, Mark Ronson used to stay at Michael Jackson's because his dad was in the music business, and he used to sleep over with Michael Jackson, and nothing ever happened. But of course, if it's a celebrity's kid, it might be a different story to some other kid. You know what I mean? There is that.
I think at the very least, taking 10-year-old boys to bed is just lining you up for litigation, right?
It's not advice, savoury.
And I often wonder about some of the things that happen in the celebrity world. Like when you come to work at News UK, they don't say don't hang around with a paedophile, right? And they don't advise you be careful about going to bed with kids. Like it's obvious, isn't it? Isn't it obvious?
Alison, isn't it obvious?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's like Jimmy Savile. Can you imagine if you came to News UK and you said, listen, after I finish my show, I like inviting 14-year-old girls to my dressing room so we can have a few drinks and party. Unfortunately, no hotel in the area is willing to allow me in, so I brought a caravan and I've got it parked. I've got it parked in the car park. Like, what would you say to that person? You go, get out of me, you filthy old get. I mean,
Tell me about it, yeah.
I mean, how did the BBC think they won't let him into any hotel? So let's let him park a caravan
in plain sight. Wasn't it?
It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
FT weekend, Wall Street shrugs off energy shock. That's in the FT, so they're going for oil crisis. What oil crisis? Apparently, that's settling down. London's luxury hoteliers lose sleep over steep fall in Middle East guests. They're not coming in.
Look, I'll tell you what we want to do. We now want to look. Should we have a look at this? It's a different antiques website.
Yeah, at the FT, there's always an advert for a shop where only very rich people go, very old English, and they buy strange furniture and doilies for like £50,000.
I thought that the one last week.
It's Jew art.
The one last week were. Every item of furniture you had for sale had a book, a literature list where you could buy books about the furniture. Right, OK, let's have a look at this one.
It's got a bowl, a picture, a watch, a bracelet and a chair.
Oh, look at this.
100 grand.
Look at this. Oh, look, he's selling Chateau Lafite from a collection of Lord Rothschilds at Stowell Park.
What, the wine?
Yeah. So it's a 1970s Chateau Lafite.
That's a good year.
Oh, they're saying that minimum bid is £3,000. We'll have two. Yeah. We'll have two. Okay. So look. Let me just ask you about this energy price thing. How worried are you, Asher? Because I mean, people can't afford the energy with Ed Miliband already. Let alone what's
they're going to blame it on the oil, and we were already paying 4 or 5 times what they pay in America anyway. We pay the most in any country in the world, so that's why people are freezing, scared to put the heating on, scared to put the kettle or the toaster on. I think.
Shivering. I tell you what I worry about. Ed Miliband is an extremist, but what people have always said is that he is the one Labour minister who is really, really intelligent, really organised, really ahead of his brief. He is a nightmare. He is the person that we don't want, I would suggest.
Definitely. I mean, we don't want any of them. We need
That's a reasonable point.
Weekend, Cabinet in secret talks over who will tell Starmer to stand down. So it's like pulling the first short straw. They're all... he was asked if he's backed by his Cabinet, and he avoided the question as usual. But obviously, if you're avoiding the question on whether your Cabinet are trying to stab you in the back, they're trying to stab you in the back.
But does he sit there going, nailed it? Like, does he go
nailed it.
Does he go upstairs at night and sort of say to Lord Atlas, say to his wife, I'm joking, by the way. Whoever was in his flat, say to them,
his penthouse in
I think we've done well today. I think we've had a good day. When does he ever say that?
Anyway, let's see what it says here in the Eye. Mood among loyal supporters to the Prime Minister has shifted dramatically in the past week from cautious optimism about Number 10 progress to genuine agony and anguish. I mean, of course, he was caught lying again to Parliament. Once you lie to Parliament, you break the ministerial code, and there's only one option, is to resign.
The rule isn't you lied accidentally, therefore
knowingly.
You can apologise. What you have to do is, if you lie, either knowingly or unknowingly, you have to correct the record as soon as possible.
But also, lying knowingly, he basically said there was no pressure put on, and we've all found out that there was pressure put on, and that is a blatant lie. And after all of it, even his own party members, they didn't really like him anyway, the backbench. But now he's lost the dressing room, and it can't be long. But then, who's going to come next? I believe Trump will set off a nuke before leaving office. I saw the warning signs. It's Miles Taylor. He sounds like Robert De Niro. No, it's Miles Taylor, but Trump derangement syndrome. syndrome. I mean, the amount of reporting that he's losing the Iran war when he's actually, pummeled them and they're finished and he's got them over a barrel.
I'll tell you what upsets me more than anything else. And we sit here and we can be critical of the United States of America, and we can be critical of Israel, and we can be critical of all of these countries that are free, democratic and whatever. But, we act as if, China, Iran are paragons of virtue. And the only reason that we know what Israel does when it makes mistakes is because Israel will investigate their own mistakes in a way that Iran won't.
Well, Iran, I mean, I read yesterday they're executing 8 women. They were in their 20s. They're just going to execute them, for being, as they would say, traitors or revolutionaries. And it's a horrendous, murderous, terrorist government. And these people here supporting it because of Trump derangement syndrome and being anti-Israel. Whoever's anti-Israel, they'll support.
I think we
it's
need.
A disgrace.
I think we need to really think as a society and as perhaps the media and whatever, is that we are able to report on the times when Israel gets it wrong because Israel has a free and open press. We're not able to report it in places like Iran because of the lack of honesty and the lack of openness and the lack of democracy. And I think there needs to come a point where we say to ourselves, the reason we are aware of the mistakes of the United States of America is because they don't cover them up in the way the Chinese do. That doesn't mean that President Xi of China is a better person than Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean, idiocy. Kathy Lett in The Independent says, why breaking up with your female friends is far more painful than losing a lover.
It's not.
Yeah, no, she's just being...
She's just lonely. That's all. Yeah. She isn't getting any.
Exactly. How dare they, this is the main headline, fury over US threat to UK control of Falkland. Starmer rebukes Trump. Stop it, Donald. Over Pentagon proposal to review status.
Do that again.
Donald, no, Donald. Stop it. In revenge for failure to join the Iran war, as Falklands vet Admiral Lord West tells The Independent, plan is an insult to islanders. Well, never mind the islanders, it's an insult to our troops that laid down their lives in that horrible, ferocious war.
I mean, I think Donald Trump is right in the following respect. He's right to say, if you are not willing to support us, why should we support you? It's a point that we've made on this show on multiple occasions.
And he's with the Argentinian Premier.
Yeah, he's not saying that the Falklands should go to Argentina. What he's saying is that we should not expect his support when we're not willing to support him on the Straits of Hormuz. I think that is an entirely reasonable position.
Of course it is. And what is the future for NATO? This is a very dangerous world, and they're our main ally, America. They're the ones who protected us. We can't protect ourselves. Anyway, 03444991000. It's all going to be about your calls in the next hour. We got Yasmin and Heather and Grace and Roger again. Are we going to talk to Roger? More print stories. Chris, Kenny, Aaron and Cindy, of course.
So we've got one slot available, 03444991000.
One slot. And Midnight Mysteries, and tonight, this morning, it's all about the pyramids. What were they for? Were they part of the Anunnaki? Or maybe, as yesterday we discovered, the Wing People. Keep it talk. After us is Benedict Fletcher. Make sure you join them with Marky. Back after news, all about your...
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Okay, this is what we're calling Midnight Mysteries with Joe Stock and Matt Thornton. How are you?
We're doing well. How are you doing?
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm good. Why are you smiling?
He's drunk, isn't he? He's drunk.
Have you been to Quentin's tonight?
No, I haven't.
No, you haven't.
I've been sat in the office.
Good, yeah. He's not spaced out like you normally.
So this week it's pyramids.
Okay. So, Joe, you normally leave with some of the research and Matt chips in?
No, Matt just sits there looking dazed.
Well, no, it depends whether he's been on the special vapes or not.
We can change the dynamic as you've, kept yourself
If you've
sober.
not been on the special vapes, it'll be all right.
Yeah, well, we wanted to talk about Egyptology, and there's been a big story in the press over the last few weeks about some Italian archaeologists using a new radar machine, and they think they have found a hidden second sphinx.
Do you mean a LiDAR or a radar?
It's different from LiDAR, but it's a similar idea.
Underground sort of. And
Yeah,
they found another sphinx.
They think they have seen what looks like another sphinx underneath the pyramids, but this is the second part of this story, because I think it was about a year ago, maybe a little bit more, where they believe that they found these giant pillars going underneath the pyramids of Giza, deep down into the ground.
Because we don't really know what a pyramid is, do we?
No, we don't. No.
Well, yeah, so
I know that sounds really obvious, but we don't know what.
We don't know what they're for.
No,
but they wouldn't have looked like that. They would have been smooth. Like they didn't leave a job. It was a lovely smooth plaster.
Apparently, they used to be capped with a gold
yeah.
on the top,
and they were white, very smooth, and they shone out. And only 500 years ago was it knocked off. All the plasterwork.
Well, there was a local, I don't know if it was a sultan or whatever he was, but he wanted to destroy one of the pyramids, and one of the pyramids, I don't think it's the Great Pyramid, it's the other one, still has damage where they were trying to tear it down. And they
it's an incredible shame, actually, and I know this, we're going to be accused of being a bit right-wing for saying this, but when new cultures come into a particular area and have no interest in what came before, it's incredibly sad. Now, whatever you believe about the growth of Islam in the Middle East, it has not been a positive force for some of the heritage of these countries.
We saw the Buddha blown up.
Items is like a scene of conquest, isn't it? It's what they do.
Well, Afghanistan, they blew up that lovely Buddha that had been there 1,000 years.
And to be fair, the spread of Christianity removed a lot of pagan symbolism in Britain.
But they destroyed Palmyra, that ISIS did a few years ago, and actually it turned out we're nice again, that Britain 100 years ago had stolen their heritage and had it in the British Museum, so they weren't able to smash that up. It was horrendous.
There was a suggestion that the Sphinx had been changed at some point.
Yes,
that it was originally was a cat, and somebody, because I mean, let's be clear, the Sphinx is awful as a piece of artwork, isn't it?
Too good, does it? Because the head is out of proportion,
completely out of proportion,
and this leads to certain alternative theorists.
And the theory is that it was originally in proportion, and somebody went, "Make that my face."
Yes,
and that's why its head's too little.
But it's believed that the Sphinx and maybe the pyramids as well could be much older than we have been led to believe, which is a new theory that's taking up quite a lot of traction.
Explain that.
So basically, there is certain water erosion around the sides of the Sphinx, and they've calculated, the experts, the scientists, they've calculated when was the last time that Giza has experienced that level of rainwater, and it hasn't been for, I think, like 7,500 years. But they reckon that the Sphinx is 2,500 years younger than that. But that doesn't make sense if it's experienced this erosion.
So Matt, so just to be clear, so I get the whole. It's originally the pyramids of marble. I get that, and the marble's been stolen. The Colosseum went the same way. Once again, modern day Romans are not really related to the old Romans particularly. They came in, mass immigration, and smacked up a lot of the stuff. So we did find within the pyramids, we did find burial chambers, but we're not sure that their intention was to be a burial chamber.
There are various chambers throughout the pyramids, and the Great Pyramid has another. I think there's one or two more.
It has some sort of weird corridor.
Well, that corridor, they've known it's existed through scans or whatever they do to find these things. They've known it's existed for several decades now, and the Egyptian government has never given permission for it. But I think in the last 6 months they've announced that a special team of archaeologists.
And do they know where the door is?
I don't know if they even know how to access it.
Do you know a really interesting fact about when the pyramids were first entered into after hundreds of years? They could find no evidence of soot anywhere inside the tunnels, which made people start to question well, how did anyone see what they were doing? Because they weren't burning any fires.
Wow. Or could it have been cleaned?
Well,
that is
possible.
Could
but
they have had a different light source?
Well, the mainstream theory is that everything inside would have been built first and then the outside would have been built on top of that. That would explain it, but it is very odd. And also, really, another interesting fact about the pyramids of Giza is that they actually have 8 sides, but you can only see these other sides emerge in the light of an equinox. And
8 sides?
8 sides.
So explain
I know,
to me.
because it's a mad picture, but if you look it up online...
It's an octagon.
Well, they like
I see,
indent in the middle,
slightly.
but you can only see that indentation in the light of the equinox.
And apparently we couldn't make a pyramid now.
Well, you
still don't have the technology.
Oh, well, come on. I mean, anyone who's seen the performance on Building Crossrail can see, the British infrastructure. But I mean, I find it... I mean, are we saying that the sophistication of the ancient Egyptians was far more than what we give them credit for?
It's possible that it's before the Egyptians.
Yes,
that's the idea.
I think they're actually far more advanced than we were, because remember, they didn't have distractions, so they just worked on maths and astronomy. And they had technologies that we didn't know about. I mean, they were lined up with Orion, the 3 stars of Orion, weren't they?
Right, the pyramids do align perfectly with Orion's belt.
And then in Mexico, there's other pyramids that all link up with those.
Although there is something really, really important. I was reading about mummies recently. They tested mummies for cocaine, and most mummies have tested positive for cocaine. Now, why is that interesting? Well, it's not interesting because they were druggies. That is not the interesting bit. The interesting bit is that cocaine is naturally from South America.
Cocoa is from
and that means that there must have been transatlantic trade. Yeah. Now, admittedly, cocaine is quite a valuable cash crop, so it doesn't mean that there's been a huge amount of trade. But when people go, why are the pyramids in South America and Egypt? Well, the answer is there was a product of South America that could only have come from South America was being exported to Egypt.
I think lots of people, they sort of get drawn to these ideas of alternative history, like there's things missing from the past that we don't know about.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think seeing pyramids in different parts of the world, and even in China, where there's a pyramid there that was quite obviously there, but the government pretends it isn't there because it would contradict their official history.
Yeah, but it would make sense. I mean, because if you think about it, man left Africa, then went up through China, across the north and down to South America, you know, which is why Chinese DNA and South American DNA is all linked up. Basically, Eskimos come down, they were the Native American Indians, and then they were South, you know.
It plays into this idea of a mother civilization where everything descended from. Now, the question is, how advanced was that, that initial civilization? Was it, you know, primitive, or was it quite technological?
Well, some are very advanced. I mean, they found stuff that looks like it was been machined, stone that's been machined, like and we don't know how the precision that they did.
Even old technology, they've found, like, not quite a computer or a compass, but the Greek,
the
Antikythera mechanism. I think that's what it's called.
remade it, and it's an amazing bit.
It's like a clock.
It's for navigation at sea, and it tells you all the start, and it's complicated.
But there's loads of things. Look, if you look at Christopher Columbus was a bozo who had completely miscalculated the size of the Earth, right? And to the extent, though, when he landed in the Caribbean, he insisted he was in India, which is why we still call them the West Indies, right? But the Greeks had said, look, why is it that we can see the top of a ship before we can see the bottom of a ship when it's sailing towards us? The reason is the Earth has got to be, it has to be a sphere, and they'd worked out already 360 degrees. They believed there were 360 days in a year. Okay, there are 365, but 364, but they were relatively close.
But the Vikings had got to America before Christopher Columbus, apparently.
Correct.
Well, yes, there's some theories.
Amerigo Vespucci was the first person to... Well, I mean, the other thing is, it's a very European way of looking at it, because, you know, the Sioux had discovered it quite a long time before any of these people.
Do you know, it's also something that's also interesting, at the end of the swastika, it's appeared in various civilizations that have supposedly never met each other, and yet these civilizations have come up with their own variations.
But a swastika is a very simple design, isn't it?
It is, but it is there. Like, it is interesting that this same.
But it's like if I fashioned a spear, you wouldn't expect one person to have invented a spear and every spear to have come from that. Ultimately, the idea of sharpening a piece of wood and using it to kill something.
There is an occult theory on this, that all human subconscious is linked in, and that is why we create the same things, even though our
but we were all linked from one tribe anyway that spread out. So of course there would be. You know what I mean?
But if you think about it, the Stone Age, what was it? The Stone Age was 3.5 million years or something like that, right? It's longer than everything else combined.
Yes.
In the end, somebody's going to drop a piece of metal onto a fire multiple times, aren't they?
And they go,
right?
boiler.
It's one of those things. Boris Johnson. But I think, I mean, I can understand. I tell you what, I remember my mum saying to me once that she'd invented the tape player.
Right.
She said, I remember when we used to listen on the radio, I always thought to myself, wouldn't it be great if you could record these songs and play them back later? I went, that is not inventing the tape player. That's merely making an observation
of something that had already been invented anyway.
It probably had been. But you think, well, that's merely an observation that we quite... But I mean, look, the burning down of the library at Alexandria, we don't know what knowledge was lost. We know that it was an absolute catastrophe for academia.
I also don't think they know who did it.
No. But it's something that I think even today is accepted to have been probably the most catastrophic loss in human knowledge.
And these alternative history programs, like there's Graham Hancock, who you might know.
Yeah, I've met him. He used to come on the show quite regularly.
Yeah, they have mass appeal. Like these are the kind of conspiracies that people really do connect with. And
but he's like he's like a real Indiana Jones. He goes out to these places.
Yes.
And
on the subject of lost knowledge, so obviously we had in the West, although it was in Egypt, the burning of the Library of Alexandria. Regarding these Chinese pyramids,
yes,
the main one that they've got is the mausoleum or tomb of Qi Shi Huang, who was the first Chinese emperor. But he went about, when he took over, he unified China, he went about destroying Confucianism, and he wiped out something like 90% of all Confucian texts in Chinese history. And so...
just made it even more confusing.
Exactly. But these things happen across the world.
But I'm sure there've got to be periods where people move backwards in terms of technology.
Yeah. Right, Dark Ages here, when the Romans left, we were just stupid, weren't we? We didn't know what to do.
After the Dark Ages, we eventually were at a point where we got way better than the Romans.
Oh yeah, once we come back.
By sort of 1300 we were better than the Romans.
Slightly off into the deeper waters of conspiracy now, but as we've talked about UFOs and things before, a lot of these government officials that have come forward theorised that maybe there is a civilization on Earth that is more superior to us, but still a human one, but has just kept itself
in the water, like these. I mean,
so maybe there was, tens of thousands of years ago, a civilization that was, a high tech, and then catastrophe happened, and they went to ground or something.
Maybe they send people in every now and then, like Elon Musk.
I've made this point multiple times, and I think, but I'll make it again about the Tyrannosaurus Rex. The Tyrannosaurus Rex, they reckon that there were absolutely hundreds of millions of them, right? But because of the nature of time passing, because the nature of things being packed into the earth, we've only found a few, right? If you were to say, what human knowledge has been lost, if you did not keep it, it's perfectly possible that that enormous amounts of knowledge were lost.
And it's like Chinese whispers, isn't it? If you have to pass it on without the...
Well, we're losing our, if you look at our potteries industry, our glass, we're losing the actual experts, in metal industries that are dying out, traditional trades, and they never come back. By the way, let's have a look. We've got a picture of Queen Nefertiti's head and the interior of King Ramesses IV's tomb. And at the back of her head, look, it looks exactly the same as Ramesses' tomb. Which one's which? Ramesses' tomb or the back of her? She looks a bit like Grace Jones had that haircut, didn't she? But that is mad, isn't it? Like they do. That's a bit crazy.
The problem is that there are all manner of symbolism, all manner of symbols that were relevant to them because of their own religious and cultural beliefs, which mean absolutely nothing to us. And it's like anything. I mean, if you were to lose all of the texts of human history and then you were to dig up a man on a cross, you go, what on earth is this? What does it mean? Were they worshipping human sacrifice and things like that?
That's a more of an atheistic view on it, though. Some people would think that the meaning of those symbols would transcend any of that.
Well,
like
no,
a Christian would find that, and somehow it would mean.
Well, if the knowledge of who Jesus was has disappeared, and all you have is a man, and you find this cross with a depiction of somebody being murdered on it, then you would imagine it was some form of death cult that venerated human sacrifice. You wouldn't realise.
Yes, you wouldn't get the deeper level.
Exactly.
Of it, yes.
I mean, I'm not specifically singling out Christianity. I think that's true of a lot of things. If you don't know, I mean, it's like Stonehenge, right? What was the, unless you have the accompanying manual, it's quite hard.
Well, that's the thing, because there are no blueprints of how they built the pyramids. There's no blueprints of how they built the Stonehenge, so it leaves people scratching their heads. So a lot of it has to be.
I mean, there has to have been a far more sophisticated level of mathematics.
Yes.
I think maths is probably quite low.
Stonehenge is so complicated. It's next level. It's a calendar. It's a clock. It lines up perfectly. I think with the equinox as well.
Yeah.
It's.
Well, look. I mean, I think
they were good at their geometry and maths. These ancient peoples, because they didn't have anything else to do.
I think we can be very clear that whatever the purpose of Stonehenge, a significant amount of work went into it. I bet that was the 15th version, where they'd made it better and better and better. But you could imagine that being the equivalent of Pugin and Barry being asked to rebuild the Palace of Westminster, where they're literally going to spend 20 years building it, and some real thoughts gone into it.
But it's funny, isn't it? I mean, human knowledge, although we've got more technology and we've learnt more, if you look back, you think actually they were more intelligent. When you look at people who were born in the 1930s and 40s, their handwriting's amazing. The knowledge of just a guy you would work on a bus would know about politics and everything.
There's different levels of
dumbed down.
Yeah, we in a way have dumbed down, but we're experts on things that they couldn't even comprehend.
But if you look at, say, political speeches, the standard of the language is much more sophisticated than
Gladstone.
that. Much more.
This is just another story, but being as we've got the Talk Mystery department here, there's a lot. This needs to be mentioned. It's news. It's the latest thing, and there's a lot of conspiracies. There's a lot of scientists from NASA propulsion laboratories that are going missing and dying, and these were all specifically told about the gravity propulsion methods, and they were warned off and told they would be killed if they didn't. Some didn't believe it, and then some people just disappeared. They were on a walk with this woman and suddenly looked back and she was disappeared. People have mysteriously died or just gone missing without their phones. Do you know anything? Let me just read the story, actually. Speculation about links among a handful of US scientists who have died or disappeared in recent years was largely confined to niche online communities less than 2 months ago. As of Friday, the number had grown to at least 12 and was the epicenter of US government. They're now investigating it, with both the FBI and Congress investigating it. At a press gathering in April 16th, Donald Trump was asked about 10 missing scientists with access to classified stuff, nuclear material, aerospace. They've all gone missing or turned up dead in the last couple of months, and whether he thought...
Is that abnormal?
Well, these people were happy people. They were looking forward to things. They weren't, and they all, a lot of them, because they were warned off, did videos saying, if I ever die, I promise you I will never kill myself, stuff like this. So what have you heard about
We've been talking about this over the last few weeks, so not so much about this, because it's been hard to follow, because a new case comes up basically every week, or sometimes twice a week.
Just to be clear, how many are there of these sorts of people? Because obviously, if 10 people have died out of 500,000, that would be not surprising.
These are specifically whistleblower type people.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
and they've been told we're going to kill your people on the phone, like CIA.
That's been alleged in certain cases, yeah. But you've had people in their home, completely in the middle of nowhere, living remotely, and then getting shot by someone on the doorstep.
Like a stray bullet enters their window. Or
and
something.
that woman that went missing on a walk, he looked back and she was just gone.
Yeah, and it is odd, and we've been covering this whole concept that maybe the US government has technology that's more sophisticated than...
And they don't want whistleblowers.
Yeah, but that's been true for a long time. Why would the whistleblowers be interested now in whistleblowing? Or are we just better at catching?
Well, I was watching this documentary that was released a little while ago called The Age of Disclosure, and it was mainly about the UFO thing, but they were basically saying how there's this thing called the Legacy Program, which is the group that handles all of this bizarre technology stuff beyond the realms of our comprehension. And by the sounds of it, there's a lot of political pressure coming down on this organisation now, because Congress is demanding that anything to do with UAP phenomenon, anything being kept away from the public, must be returned to the federal states. So
what they're saying, a lot of these scientists, the rumour is that making this anti-gravity thing, that it's actually been sorted, and a lot of people are going, I know how to do it, and then they're getting a phone call going, you don't want to be saying that, you want to stop this.
Because if that technology
if it got out to the enemy...
well, that's the thing. If these guys got abducted by China or something, that would create...
then that would be a massive
that must be a real problem, right? So I remember I had a friend of mine who worked at GCHQ in Cheltenham. I mean, he only told me this after he'd left, but he did a similar job to the spy in the bag. I forget what his name was, but remember that guy got...
The MI5 computer expert.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, that's what it's called, the spy in the bag. And what my mate said was, look, fundamentally, being an analyst where you are able to tap phones and all this sort of thing, it's not really something that the FSB or the KGB are particularly interested in.
I imagine a lot of people can do that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not a high value target.
But he might have known something.
But if you're now saying, well, there's 50,000 people that we have to protect from China or Russia kidnapping them, that must become a significant challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but you'd think that the system would be in place to protect those people if you're going to have those people with that information. But the idea
it's the way they're protected, principally for you not to really know who they are.
Well, when they were developing the nuclear bombs, all of these scientists were just kept on the same compound and they weren't allowed to leave. So it's possible that they've got stuff like that going on.
We've got a caller about the curse of the tombs. The curse of the tombs. I sort of Gary.
Somebody said that the curse of the tombs is largely to do with bacteria inside there that people were breathing in.
Well, let's talk to Gary in Lincolnshire. Gary, is it about that?
Gary.
Yeah, good evening, all. Yeah, I'd like to ask your guests, the mysterious deaths that happened over the archaeologists that have discovered this stuff over the...
This was the guy who owned Downton Abbey, wasn't it? The Earl of Carmarthen.
What's this? I couldn't hear him.
So you know how with Tutankhamun's tomb,
the curse of
the people who excavated it all died mysteriously.
Yes. I think it is the Earl of Carmarthen, isn't it?
I don't know exactly his name.
Well, if you mess about with pyramids, you might die. That's what happens.
Well, there was a suggestion it's not the curse; it's stuff that's in there.
Bacteria,
ammonia.
That makes sense to me.
Well, it's possible. I mean, the Chinese government, the official reason that they don't excavate Qi Shi Huang's tomb is because it's full of mercury. He was obsessed with living forever, and one of the things that, of course, made you live forever back in the day was mercury. And so
now we know it kills you.
So, exactly. So they buried him with a load of it, and it's basically a toxic mound that.
It's like which was it? Queen Elizabeth I who used to use mercury on her face and lead, was it?
Yes, lead
to make it white.
But imagine the guy who dug up Tutankhamun, dug up Qi Shi Huang. He'd have died along with his entire team, and they'd have all gone mad in the process as well.
Yeah, and I think there was a great tendency because of the media in those days to say it was a curse or whatever.
They lost a moral panic.
Whereas
you shouldn't mock the curse.
Well, look, if you were to be the editor of a newspaper and you've got the option about the Earl of Carmarthen, you can either say that he died because of bacteria inside the tomb, or it's because there was a curse. And I mean, the curse is going to be more interesting.
Do you know about the Cleopatra's Needle in London on the Thames? It's about 5,000 years old, isn't it?
Yeah, that's correct. And
but there's needles like that. That have been collected from Egypt. There's one in the Vatican City. I'm sure there's others. Yes. That's the first one that comes to mind.
Needles, 10 a penny.
I'm convinced that your candle thing is in the Vatican.
Oh, the menorah. Yeah, well, it was taken by the Romans when they sacked Jerusalem, and it's on the carvings. Anyway, look, we on the side by the Colosseum. We've got to take a little break, and then we're going to come back to Gary. We'll come back to Gaz about that. We're talking pyramids and mystery with our it's A-team mystery talk team.
A-team and B-team.
A-team and B-team. Yeah, we'll be back after this.
Hello, people on the team.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Interesting. Okay, well,
welcome back to the mystery.
You were talking about Mark Bullen, weren't you?
Mark Bullen, T-Rex.
He described himself as a Russophile. He spent a lot of time in Russia.
Dolan.
Yes.
He now works for Zenit St. Petersburg Football Club, associated with Gazprom. He has been stripped of his British citizenship. He's a former Hertfordshire police officer. I wonder why former police officers are in Russia.
And member of Gazprom.
Getting Russian citizenship.
Interesting.
Yanni Visu. Mark Bullen.
Gaz, Lincolnshire, carry on with your pyramid mysterious chat, please, with the guys. We've got the experts here. Shoot.
Yes, I used to read, I imagine they're aware of it, Arthur C. Clarke magazines many, many years ago.
The inventor of the satellite.
A bit before my time. We don't do magazines, but go on.
Not those.
Oh, you did.
Not those sort of magazines.
Of course you did. handed down from generation to generation.
No, they all go online now, the kids these days. Nothing left to the imagination.
I remember when the fifth year used to leave and the old pornographic collection.
It's not like Actually Weekly anymore.
Was bequeathed to the new generation.
In my day, you had to go to the bushes and randomly find
I'll tell you what, if those girls had received royalties, because those magazines from about 1982,
they'd be loaded, wouldn't they?
They weren't as well. Anyway, they weren't as well groomed as they are now.
Let's carry on with the mystery.
May I go off on a tangent?
Yeah, well, we've done it.
Yeah. I was calling in last week. I was the person who the phone broke up, and I was talking. You thought I was talking about a snooker club or snooker cues.
Yeah,
it wasn't that. It was me and my friend. We used to go once a week to play snooker.
So it was about a snooker club.
Night.
I was right.
A fair evening, and we used to go at the same time, walking down to where we used to go and play. We used to be there at a certain time, and we both lost an hour, and we could never explain it.
Lost time.
Maybe the clocks went forward.
I've been to that club.
Yeah, maybe the clocks went forward, and you know what I mean?
No.
Were you in a K-hole?
What happens? Were you playing? You were just hanging out, and then you realised, whoa.
You're just having a great time playing snooker. Time flies.
No, we didn't. We didn't get there until an hour later. We used to go at 8:30 once a week.
Yeah.
Walking down the road, which is only a 10-minute walk, if that.
Yeah.
And
the walk took an hour.
But without being funny, we've all done that where you go, we've got loads of time until we need to go. How have we done 2 hours?
Did you experience any kind of nightmares or visions or anything after that happened?
No, it just changed their perception of things. Because when we actually got into the venue where we play snooker, it's too late, because you used to have to put your name up on the chalkboard.
Yeah.
You used to have to wait, and we couldn't get a game. The pair of us lost an hour, and it's weird.
Was there anything else strange, light in the sky or anything?
Just a clear sky and a bit of brightness in the sky, which we didn't think much of. And
at night there was brightness in the sky.
The moon.
I really don't know, but the only thing I can say to you two lads is since that happened, I can
really good at snooker.
Like when people speak to me, I can tend to know what they're going to say.
You can. You finish this.
What am I going to say now?
Well, I don't know about that now, am I? I'm not
you lost your power.
You think you've gained some kind of psychic ability since this incident?
Maybe.
Give us an example of it then. What you're a psychic?
Yeah,
I'm getting the word.
What's happened?
Has your friend gained any powers as well?
I don't know. We don't.
We should have been able to know from.
We're both from Hertfordshire. He's moved to the other side of Cambridgeshire, and I live in Lincolnshire. So
you never saw each other again after.
But can you not connect your minds and instead of getting on the WhatsApp, just text each other in your head?
What was your highest break in snooker?
Andre, you are taking the mickey now.
I'm not taking the mickey. I'm saying.
He doesn't do that.
I'm saying, look, my problem with people who've got psychic abilities, where they go, "Oh right, your grandmother's coming through," and what does grandmother want to say? She had 3 sisters. Well, I frigging knew that already.
Yeah, this is
I want the lottery numbers.
This is actually mysterious because he's being honest, saying I can't pick up anything at the moment.
You know, I'm not saying that I'm psychic.
Can you give us an example of when this unusual thing happened?
Is it like a conversational deja vu?
Talking to somebody and then they're going to say something and I say it before they do, and sometimes.
I hate people who finish your sentences.
Things. I think, shall I ring whoever? And sometimes it rings.
Yeah, I have had that to be.
I do that. Yeah.
Uri Geller says that there is a sort of mental connection, because if somebody's really staring at you behind you or whatever, you do notice, don't you?
Yeah. I had some weird things where it's like a few times this happened to me in my life where I'm walking down the street or I'm at a venue or whatever, and I think I can see someone that I recognise, and as I get closer towards them, someone I haven't seen for a while, I'm like, oh, it's not them, but it looks just like them. And then I'll turn a corner and that person will appear.
Really?
That's happened about 4 times.
That's synchronicity.
Yeah.
Explain, Matt.
I think we are linked up.
What is synchronicity?
I think we are linked up telekinetically, especially with people we know, and we don't realise that phenomenon yet.
A coincidence is where it's, it just happens and things are similar and sometimes they cross paths.
It's not a coincidence, it's happened to me.
No, sorry, he's explaining what synchronicity.
Synchronicity is the idea that it's happened for a purpose, or that the two things are somehow connected.
Right.
What are your thoughts on deja vu?
I don't know. The thing is, I get deja vu sometimes, but it's also if I do the same thing multiple times, then it might.
No, it's the opening of a time portal.
Somebody suggested that deja vu could be that obviously your touch, your sight, your smell, your hearing actually operate at different speeds, and when your brain has failed to put them together properly, you get this sense that you've seen the thing before. Which would be a scientific explanation. I'm not saying that is what has happened, but that is an explanation.
I mean, remember, time is a man-made concept. Time doesn't actually exist.
Time and space are the same thing.
Yeah, so...
It could be that we just live the same life over and over and over again, and that's why we have...
Hold on, Mark's got a theory about deja vu. Let's bring Mark on. Mark will be on after us with Benedict Fletcher on TalkSport, TalkTV as they mingle together as one, simulcasting. Mark, your theory on deja vu. Remember, Mark doesn't believe in the moon landings. Buzz Aldrin would punch his face in. I haven't got short term. I can remember what I'd done 3 years ago, but not yesterday.
A pound of grass.
Interesting.
Yeah, but you know when you get deja vu and you think this is going to happen next, and it does, because you know it, because it's deja vu.
That's a premonition, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, there's an enormous amount of stuff that we've not bothered remembering, right? Stuff that I don't know. The exact amount of how much your Tesco shopping was in 1997, right? So there's a lot of information that's going in that's just being deleted.
When you sleep, it gets deleted, isn't it? Yeah.
That is what sleep is, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's like a computer.
But is it actually deleted, or is it just lying there subconsciously? Could you bring it forth if you wanted to?
Well, have you seen that man who's got a 30-second memory?
Yeah, it's horrifying.
He's got that from syphilis, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, that rotted his brain.
What he writes in his pad is, "I am now finally awake," and then he scrubs out the previous one and writes again, "I am now finally awake," but he was a concert pianist and can still play the piano.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
But he thinks he's just woken up from the hospital in 1980. He still has all his memories before that.
Yeah.
But every 5 seconds it will just refresh back.
That's right.
And did he wear leg warmers and things in the 1980s clothing?
Is he still alive? I remember him being old when I was a kid.
I think he is still alive, because I looked into it recently. I think he's still alive.
The thing is with him, what became clear from that documentary is he has a sense that something very wrong is happening.
He was like crying his eyes out for about 10 years.
It's very sad.
Yeah,
he doesn't quite know what's going on, but he gets the sense.
But he improved. He improved.
Did he?
Yeah, he became much more functional and was more in control of his emotions after about 20 years. So things were improving in the brain, but he never was able to retain.
Maybe Elon Musk with his thing that he links into, maybe they'll be able to fix that. AI maybe out. Anyway, look, we've got a lot of breaks to go through, haven't we? So 0344 499 1000. Thanks, Gary. Back after this.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Okay, the Select Show and Midnight Mysteries with Andre Walker, Asher Gould, Joe Stock, and Matt Thornton. Guys, we really appreciate you doing this, by the way. It's really good. Obviously, there's nobody to answer the phones, but we have got some calls coming through. Anne is in Epsom. Anne, you're on Talk.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for taking my call. What it is, it's a bit of a weird thing. It's like a psychic thing, I think. I was watching... it was Emmerdale the other day on TV.
Emmerdale Farm.
Yeah, and one of the girls on there, young girl, well, it wasn't young girl actually, it was her aunt, had a baby for her. And when the girl had it in her arms, they both turned around and said, you know, people said, have you got a name for her? And they said, yeah, we have. And straight away, the name Layla come into my mind. And the next minute they said, oh, we're going to call her Layla.
Wow.
Had Layla been played in the background on the show earlier?
I wonder though, because we do pick up on each other, are the things that... okay, let me tell you something. Asher and I, when we come into the studio, very often end up talking about the same things that we've seen. Yeah. What we've discovered is our YouTube algorithms are actually effectively quite similar. And so we are literally watching the same things. Now, I'm not saying that is the reason for you guessing Layla, but there could be subconsciously.
Subconsciously, it could be that was being implied in the show without you realising it, perhaps. I mean, I haven't seen it.
It never was. Honestly,
no.
It never was. They never...
Has it ever happened other times?
I've had a few things where kind of, you know, things... I mean, you know, I think... Oh,
What, is it soap? Are they all soap opera related?
No. You know, I might think I'll give my son a ring and that phone will ring dead on.
I get that a lot.
Yeah, you get that a lot. And I think there's something to do with a telekinesis type link with your family and stuff like that.
This gets into that thing again, that human consciousness is all linked.
Well, it's all electronics, isn't it? And we know Wi-Fi and that, and it works in computers. There's no reason why electronic pulses in our brain. I mean, now they've got, you know, when they found that... a pilot that was shot down in Afghanistan, they've got these sensors now that can pick up even the heartbeat because of anyone. So it doesn't matter, even if you're hiding in a mountain, it will pick up the heartbeat. So there's little electric waves that has been transmitted everywhere. So it wouldn't surprise. We don't know everything. When you look 100 years ago, we laugh at how little they knew, but in 200 years, they'll laugh at what we knew.
But when people talk about things like chemical signals, I mean, if you go to a nightclub, you can tell whether the bird's into you or not, can't you? Let's be totally blunt. There's also,
I guess.
Well, not into you two. I mean, there's not many things. But no, on the serious note, we are communicating with each other in ways that we don't fully understand. But we can read it, if you like,
facially as well.
With Anne's case here, it's not about communicating with someone she knew. She predicted something just before it happened.
And how can I, out of all the girls' names in the world, and it was mentioned, how can Layla come to my head?
Layla's not a particularly common name, is it?
Let's say that, you know, it's a bit, you know, a lot of contention around it, but there are a lot of people that have studied this and would say that there is people with psychic ability. Now, I'm not saying that's definitely true, but there has been research into it.
But look, at the very least, there are people who are more perceptive than others.
Yes.
Right? Now, I believe... I'll tell you what I believe about psychics. I mean, obviously, you look at somebody like Derek Acora, Creed Kafer. He is obviously a fraud. He was proved to be a fraud. I think a large number of psychics genuinely believe they are psychics. I don't think they're common.
I know Uri Geller's been tested by the CIA for remote viewing, and he's, you know, shown that he could do it. And I've seen him personally do it, and it is weird.
Well, you've always maintained
it wasn't a trick.
You've always maintained that Uri Geller genuinely believes in what Uri Geller says.
Well, I've seen, like, once I was doing the show, and I was in a different room, and someone turned up who wasn't expected or anything, and just a mate of mine. And Uri Geller was like 30 feet away, and I said, "Go and draw something on that paper." I know, and Uri, my mate is just drawing something. Can you draw it? And he just did it, and it was exactly the same size and everything. And I saw him do it with my brother as well. And literally, he'd literally just drawn it with me, and Uri was over there.
Because Asher, the reason that this is interesting is that Asher has seen Uri Geller behind the scenes, if you like, backstage, not quite backstage here, and Uri Geller believes what he's saying.
Once he came in because he used to come with his old family. So
he doesn't literally go, "Oh, these bozos believe all this, but I'm just ripping them off." He literally, tell that story.
But he came in with his family, and his son and his wife and his brother-in-law, who's his manager, and they came in to do the show, and then he got a phone call, and it was the daughter. They couldn't wait. It was her 18th birthday, and I think she'd drunk something, and the grandmother was with the daughter, who was like 18. She couldn't wake her up, and the son was shouting at Uri, because his son's very much like Uri, saying, "I told you that something was." He was like having an argument with him, saying, "I told you I'd picked up that something was." So they believe, they have this.
Was that Daniel Geller?
I met him. I think he's Daniel. He's got he's got a daughter and a son. Yeah, Daniel, he's a good lad, and he was on the board.
I mean, I think if what you are doing, so my mum used to read the tea leaves. And she always used to say to people, I read the tea leaves, but I don't personally believe in it. What I do is I look at the patterns and I describe the patterns. And people would say, "Oh, she's psychic, but she doesn't know it." I think if what you're going to do is say, I'm happy to just tell you what pops into my head, and if you believe it, you believe it, and if you don't, you don't. I think that's fair enough. I think it's when these people deliberately set to rip people off. But I think the majority of psychics actually aren't con men. I think they do believe it.
The CIA spent years and years researching this stuff, and they were doing it because they knew that the KGB during the Cold War would do, or the Russian intelligences during the Cold War were doing the same thing. And I believe to this day the Russian military still uses psychics.
There's CIA documents that have been declassified now where they have the experience and testimony of the test subject, and he's claiming that he's astral projected onto Mars and can see structures like pyramids and
the Men Who Stare at Goats film with John Ronson, wasn't it? With George Clooney, and there was a department in the CIA that was developed. They used to stare at a goat trying to kill it with thought.
Did it work? Did it work?
Well, it died eventually.
No, it didn't.
After about 6 years.
And on that bombshell, we're still talking a lot of mysteries. We're taking all you. We've got loads of calls, so don't call in now. Don't forget Mark. What was that?
What was that?
That was very
he was mucking about there.
All right, it just moved on its own. We're about to go to break, and as we...
He's trying to put you off, look at him!
Yeah, look at that. Right, we'll be back. Oh, look at that, look! Get the Exorcist. Call the Talk Exorcist. We'll be back after this.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yeah. Yeah, let's not tell that story. It was a different time. Okay, this is the Late Show, and it's Midnight Mysteries with Andre Walker, Joe Stock, Matt Thornton, of course, the wonderful Asher Gould. Let's go to Gwyn in Birkenhead.
Gwyn.
Mate. Hello, fella. How are you?
All
right, Gwyn.
Right, calm down.
Nice to know you're back, Andre.
Yeah, sorry about yesterday. I wasn't very well.
Food poisoning?
From yesterday.
We can't go into why.
Never mind.
I was in hospital. It wasn't me, though.
Joe. Hello, Joe.
Hello.
Joe, years ago, and I can't comprehend this. Years and years ago, I had a colour in my head which I've never seen. This is ridiculously sounds stupid, but a colour that didn't exist in my head, and to this day, I was about 12, 13 when I seen it in my head, and to this day, I can't explain.
What was the closest colour to it?
How would you describe the colour?
It wasn't a certain shade of this colour, that colour, but it was a colour that it was only a split second in my head, but I went, wow.
Have you seen it since?
No, it doesn't exist in the real world.
Can you describe its frequency?
It's always been in the head, thinking about this colour, but
and what sound would the colour make if it was a sound?
Oh, come on, don't be...
No, but I mean, all colours do have, a high frequency, like yellow would have a very high pitch sound, and a brown or a black would have a bass sound.
But I've made this point. I made this point multiple times, right? When we talk about visualisation, right, that part of our brain is connected to our eyes. A dog... It is connected to his eyes and his nose. So when even the word visualise, when he visualises the world, he's combining both sight and smell in a way we can't understand.
Like bats and sonar.
Was the colour in your mind's eye, like you shut your eyes and you could see this colour?
It was so brief. I mean, as I say, I was a kid at the time, and it was just so brief.
What happened before this? Was there an incident that could have?
No, I was in my bedroom, and then it was just like this quick. A couple of seconds. Oh, stop it! A couple of seconds, and it just went. But to this,
how do you know it's just not a colour you've seen?
Because it doesn't exist.
This is why I can't explain.
You'd think that.
I've seen a colour, but I thought I can't explain this.
How can you? You've got no frame of reference, have you?
Sometimes it's synesthesia where the brain will...
Certain can't...
like it will convert numbers into colours or shapes.
What was it about?
What was what about?
The colour.
Well, it's your brain. It might be your brain thinking it's not seeing this colour.
To say, I mean, we could look into that phenomenon, but
when I was
have you ever heard of anything like this before, John?
Well, no, I haven't. This is the first. How old were you?
I was old. I'm going.
Yeah, they're making a point. They're making a point in the gallery in my ear that, of course, the colours that we see is only a very, very, very tiny.
We don't see infrared or ultraviolet.
But to see a colour appear in your mind's eye,
it was something. It was a colour I can't explain.
You might have.
The point I'm making is, what you might have in your head is a colour that exists, but your eyes can't see.
Yes.
I mean, everything you see is just an interpretation your brain makes.
I'm a mature man now, and to this day I can't explain.
Can you still imagine the colour? Can you still see it in your head?
I can't, no. I'm going back to when I seen that.
Have you had any other strange experiences occur in your life?
No, that was just the one, really. That was just the one.
Well, I'll look into it for you. If you listen next week, we'll follow up on that and see if there's been any similar.
We've got our research mystery squad.
Have a nice night.
Take care.
You too.
99.
Good morning. And after us is going to be Ben.
Oh, here we go.
Come here, Ben. Let's have a look at this.
Come on, you can talk into this microphone.
How are we doing, everybody?
Benedict Fletcher. That's not his name, but it gives him more gravitas.
It does a bit.
Benedict Fletcher's going to be on doing Talk Sport and Talk TV.
You're a beautiful man.
Simulcasting.
I totally get my coffee breath all over.
What's the number to call you?
03717 22 33 44. Here's a thought, by the way.
Yeah.
What colour shirt am I wearing?
Cerise.
We look at it's like pink, right?
Pink.
Yeah.
But how do you know that my perception of pink
Exactly.
is the same as your perception
Yeah, well,
of
you
pink?
could be colour. Exactly, you don't know,
You know what I
because
mean?
it's all made up by our brain in terms.
So what have you got on tonight?
The usual stuff, looking ahead to FA Cup weekend. But we're going to be talking beekeeping. We had a guy on back in September.
Oh,
Matt,
He's a beekeeper
as well. He's from your neck of the woods as well.
Bees are very mysterious. Can we do a mystery hour on bees one day?
We can get in shot.
Because get us all in shot.
It's like the Temptations, isn't it? Without all the sad endings.
Look, it's the world's shittest boy band.
You got a guest on about beekeeping, yeah?
Yes, a bit about beekeeping.
I'd like to do that.
Difficult time of year for bees. Wasps are getting at them. They're attacking all the weak nests, aren't they?
Do you know the reason wasps are so angry at the end of the summer? They're starving to death.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that.
Wait, they're hungry, aren't they? Hungry.
If you knew you were on your way out, I'd be stinging left, right, and centre if it was me.
What is it? Is it Matt you got on talking about it? Is it?
No, it's not Matt. We could get Matt on at some point.
Yeah, but he doesn't say anything. He just sits there glazed over.
Beekeeping then?
I just felt like it. I like bees.
Have you had product yet? Have you got honey yet?
No, but we're going to get product this year.
Amazing. I mean, it's
you can charge a decent amount.
Jar as well.
Do you know, right? My next door neighbours, she sadly no longer with us, but she was a beekeeper, and she gave us a jar of her honey, and it tasted like the smell of my garden, as it would.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's amazing.
It was interesting.
It's amazing the quality of honey. Even if you get that Manuka honey from like Waitrose, it's nowhere near the stuff that these guys come up with.
Apparently,
he's never had any. How do you know?
Apparently, if you've got hay fever and you eat honey from the specific area that the bees have made the honey from, and you sit there, you're not going to get sick from it.
Whoa, I love that.
So 4 hours of that, basically.
Now, by the way, who's gonna win Hull versus Charlton?
Hull, I would imagine.
We had, your assistant manager's
Dean Holden's wife.
Crumpet in today.
Bit of crumpet.
Oh, was that who I saw leave?
Danielle, yeah.
Oh,
She's
okay.
a wag, one of the original wags. She's going to be there tomorrow at Hull.
But of course, he used to be the manager of Charlton.
Yeah,
he worked with Steve Jarrett as well in Saudi Arabia.
Is that right? Would you go and work in Saudi Arabia for a couple of years?
Not for Steve Jarrett. I mean, look what he did at Villa.
Well,
indeed, ruined.
Are Villa
it.
going to win the Europa League this year?
Yes, I think it is the Euro Mickey Mouse Cup.
Look at the optics of this. It just looks dreadful, doesn't it? Looks absolutely dreadful.
So what else? You got the FA Cup. You got honey.
A bit of beekeeping. Obviously, big result for Nottingham Forest tonight. 5-0 win.
Arsenal, of course.
Arsenal, are they going to bottle the Premier League? Can City do the treble? Yeah, there's all
Spur going down.
Spur, singular.
Yeah, there's only one of them, isn't there?
There's only one Tottenham Hotspur. Yeah, indeed. And we'll do our usual fun and games. Carry on aging. We're giving away a book you don't want, signed by someone you've never heard of. Come on and guess the age.
I love those books. They try and get rid of them in reception, don't they?
Yeah.
But it's like Susan's challenge.
We only get the good ones. We only get the good ones. We don't get the ones where it's like, some weird form of dieting.
Yeah.
Somebody's reinvented.
Right, well, you better run over to the studio and we will say thank you very much. Apologies I wasn't in yesterday. Thank you so much to